Okay, so we're going to have a chat about stuff.
Anything you'd like.
G'day, I'm an Australian comedian. Hey, you know when you go to your mate's wedding and they make you take a photo in a field? What's that all about? Yeah, where's the punchline? Oh, well, you know, I'm just the kind of guy, you know, I'm a bit sporty, I'm a nice bloke. God, it's like watching 10-year-olds laugh. No. Yeah, I can be a bit vicious, I know that, because I've really... And I'm getting older, and as we were talking yesterday in our private conversation with you and Phil, I am sort of having to change my spiritual and psychological dichotomies towards a more evolved standpoint. Because the amount of fucking hate I have for mainstream fucking idiots is... I have to own that hate. Now, I've always had hate for mainstream because I've never fathomed them. I've never fathomed why they like rubbish. Like masses of them. Laughing at heavy metal like we're idiots. Right, with some of the most highly skilled musicians, heartfelt artists in the whole musical genre across the board. No, they're screaming and yelling. And what are you listening to? Madonna? She's amazing. No, she's not. She's a corporate shill. Can't you see this?
She's a corpse at this point.
Oh, you know, she's just disgusting, right? And so, oh, she's got a couple of good songs. What, out of a 40-year career? Oh, good record. Yeah. What, 2 good songs has she out of a 40-year career? In some book where she's fucking naked in a stairwell in New York.
With Vanilla Ice too, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't even know. I haven't watched the... I've got to make sure my ravenous, hate-filled ego doesn't come to the forefront and start... I'm trying to, you know, deal with him. But, you know, it's interesting because, you know, these reaction videos we have on YouTube now where you can watch people, older people or young people, but they'll get sent music or comedy clips and they, you know... And then they watch them and they, you know, stuff they've never seen. And it's very interesting. And I kind of like the concept because it does, in one sense, I can see it. It's a good manifestation of borders being broken down about races and subcultures of people who perhaps didn't hear art because of the way everything's categorized in their perceived opinions about heavy metal. And some of their opinions about heavy metal could be correct when you've got a bunch of dumb metalheads drenched in spikes, running around covered in blood, spitting fucking beer on trains, carried on like morons. I know they're there. Right. But it's very interesting to watch a lot of them actually realise that, mate, this music's doing something to me. Yeah, because it's real. You know, I'm watching these people just suddenly, oh, heavy metal's like, yeah, how do they do this? Well, the talent. Passion, dedication, commitment, play from the fucking heart. But these mainstream people, I've never seen that before. I know you haven't, because you're a fucking vacuous shill that thankfully has been brought towards this stuff now. So perhaps you're not. So on a soul level, I'll give you your grace of God. You are a soul in an incarnate body. But it's good getting the last laugh in one sense, watching them just... Oh, I never knew this. I know you didn't, because you're a sheep and you went along with the opinion that heavy metal was stupid and you just missed out. Missed out. And but some of the young people, they kind of know about heavy metal because Metallica took it to that zone, you know, so they've kind of grown up knowing. They probably went to school and some Brooker kids at their school had Cannibal Corpse tapes, whereas I grew up, you know, I saw the beginning of death metal and didn't even exist, that music. You know, so now that music is kind of in the consciousness to degrees. You know, it's existed for 35 years now. So, but it's interesting watching these young people, watching old clips of like Queen or and just going, you know, this guy just does it without auto-tune. And they're like amazed. And it's like, yeah, it's called singing. Yeah. This is what musicians do, right? Right? They play instruments very well, very difficultly if they're good, and they sing, and they can dance if they can dance.
What do you reckon it'll be like in another 50 years when they're reacting to today's crop?
Well, I don't think they'll be here. It's like a lot of new metal bands. You know, where are they? And what kind of legacy do they have with nothing? And I knew they'd have no legacy. Why? Because it was corporate shit. You could tell. Couldn't anyone tell? Doesn't anyone have any instinct left? You know, there were some all right guys in that bunch. You know, Korn probably, they were the originators of that kind of stuff, and they were kind of probably, well, they've had a long-lasting career and an impact. But you know, when you're going to throw what Coal Chamber and Spine Shank and then it went even. And then it went into this. Oh, well, you can tell how heavy metal's changing now because you can see guys with little foppy hairdos who are in bands because they've grown up hearing Metallica. So this is where old metalheads hate that because they know that secrecy of heavy metal that kept you apart from society has been broken. And so that old feeling is not there, you know. So I understand it. And these new people don't even know that feeling. And I can't blame them for that. Everything has to change. It always does. You know, once things get popular, it expands out. I remember even in the late 80s when I watched thrash metal and death metal become more popular. And that was still underground. But I realised it was spreading like wildfire, you know. And because when I was into early thrash death metal, there was only about 8 bands to choose from. Right. That's all there were, you know. Creator, Destruction, Sodom, Celtic Frost, Slayer, Anthrax, Megadeth, Metallica, and a couple of real underground ones, you know. But as it get, you know, and then the sort of 90s, you get death metal. So of course, as anything gets more popular, the talent pool is going to expand and then, but also weaken, because now you've got a lot more bands, but not everyone is great, or originators, or you know, eclectic. And because I look at a lot of the early thrash metal bands, they're still going because they got lifers in them, proper artists, proper guys who are disenfranchised guys who have put their life to metal and music. But I think it's a great thing to watch these young people actually watch this music, because I think if I look at it like we were talking about stuff yesterday, like just shamanically in that sense, or things manifesting or reflecting back at you in the world, it's almost like the grace of God that this has happened so that young people could actually see some talent and watch some, because they're affected by it. They're like, oh my God, this is great. You know, you're playing them old songs from the 70s and they're like, oh, it just sounds better. Like, yeah. So you can see it affected them. So I like that. I'm like, good, you know. And it is great watching a lot of, as we were talking yesterday, a lot of these Scandinavians are really making these traditional sounding bands, you know, going back to ancient songs and
Do you mean like
and it is really, sorry darling?
Like Heilung and Wadrona?
Yeah, stuff like that. And I found a lot more, because they're the kind of ones that you know, and then I just went through the internet and there's tons of them. They're like these run around the woods in cloaks and playing lutes. And I'm like, and it's like, and it's good because you watch people who are just in the modern world with their personality, and when something like that comes on, you see it get their humans. You see them suddenly drop their front, and they're like, they're affected.
You reckon it resonates within something ancestral even when it's that kind of music?
I definitely really do. I really do. You know, there was this, I watched a sort of, I guess he was black, kind of light blackish guy, gay guy, like kind of fun, hi everyone, right, and we're going to watch Wadruna now, and then, you know, he's got his personality, oh, what's this going on, oh, I don't know how you say that, right, and then it comes on, and he's like, and then you just see him, like it's gone in him. Yeah. You know, you can almost see this, oh my God. It's almost like their soul goes, I forgot about this. Real shit. And so I think that stuff's very positive. I like seeing that stuff. I know there's some fake ones on there, guys, trying to make a quick buck and go, I've never heard With or Without You by U2. Yes, you have. Right. Right. Everybody's heard With or Without You by somewhere, in a shop or something, you know. But I like that. I think that's very... It moves me, honestly, sometimes. When I watch... sorry?
Gives you hope.
Well, it brings up emotions in me. I like to see but I like real stuff. I always have. That's why I was drawn to heavy metal and why I can't sell out doing comedy. I could have made a lot more money doing comedy about, you know, how many shoes do your girlfriends have? How many shoes do they buy? What's up with women and shoes? But actually, I probably wouldn't have made any more money doing comedy like that because I can't do it because it's fake to me. And so I can't. You know, I always had to have something. Always had to have a point. I had to have depth. I just don't. I can't stand shit. You know, I can't watch. I like if I can't even hear adverts. I haven't watched the TV for 35 years. I've watched films and DVDs and you know, a cooking show while I'm eating dinner. I can handle a cooking show. There's not too much brainwashing going on. You know. Yeah, right. I can watch some gay Asian guy make me a lovely soup. I go, I'd have a go at that too, mate. But I can't watch ads at all. I can't. If they come on and I'm in the kitchen cooking, I have to leave the kitchen, go out and turn it off. Yeah. I can't hear them. I can't listen to them. I can't. Because corporate, it's like when you're listening to Dead Can Dance or something on YouTube, because I don't have any of my CDs here because I'm not in where all my stuff is. And then you drift off. But then it's the second the song stops. Insurance. You know, like, they're just soulless cretins. It's like when comedians have to go and do gigs for corporates, what they call corporates. Inevitably, they always die on their ass. Why? Because these corporate people are dead. They're soulless creatures. They have no sense of humour. They don't even know what it's about. They're just, well, there's no spreadsheet. And how do you make money out of that? And I don't know, like, they're just... And that's the hatred in me I have to deal with. Because when I see these soulless creatures, I fucking hate them. I want to beat them. I want to beat some fucking realness into them. Like, what are you? It's like the guy who invented the leaf blower. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, mate? They thought this is... As soon as you finished and you turned it on and it went... Nah! Didn't you think, oh, hang on. Right.
This is great. I'm going to sell it to everyone.
Yeah. You know, okay. If it was delegated to, you know, construction sites where it blended in with the rest of the cranes and dump trucks and explosions, fair enough. But, you know, some block of units in a leafy suburb at 6:30 on a Tuesday, mate, have some soul. Have some soul. You know, I was telling my friend Anil the other day, I said, I truly believe it. I bet plants even for fucking hate it, like the vibration, the noise. You know, they'd like a broom. I bet the grass is probably going, we like that noise. And then fucking leaf blower turns up. And they're like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Didn't they find out that vegetables actually do emit a vibration at a certain hertz?
Oh, of course. Yeah. It's all alive. As much as I'm still eating animals and carrying on, I know it's all alive. All of it. Plants, dirt, worms. It's all going on. I mean, it's like funny when people go, you know, everything's connected and here's why. Well, don't you have to tell me why everything's connected, mate? I already know everything's connected. Who needs to be told that everything's connected? If you walk into the sea, you walk on land, and then you go, what? If you could walk under the sea, you'd walk under the sea, and then you come up in another country. Why? Because it's all connected. And you're connected to the universe and the thing and the animals, and you're all connected by what? Because you can think. You all think, don't you? I can go to Bulgaria tomorrow. I might not understand the language, but those people think, and I think. So we're all connected by what? Thinking. It's obvious we're connected. Where's the water? Well, it goes all around the world, unless you're a flat earther or whatever you fucking want to believe. But it's like, you know, the sky is there, the earth is there, you're there. Like, who can't tell this is not connected? I'll tell you who. Western Newtonian physics-obsessed, compartmentalised human beings who fell for the lies. That's why I hate Western medicine. I love it if it wants to pull a bullet out of you or fix a broken arm or, you know, do some quick surgery or... They're good at that because that's where a lot of Western medicine comes from, isn't it? War. How to patch up, you know, slaves we've blown up. But it's all compartmentalised. So I've got something wrong with my kidney, so I have to go and see the kidney specialist. But if I went and saw an ancient Chinese medicine guy, he'd go, well, it's actually not the kidney that's the problem. It's your foot. It's just that it's manifested in the kidney. Why? Well, the kidney's connected to... I'm not saying the kidney's connected to the foot. But, you know, the Chinese know. Well, the gallbladder and the kidney operate in sort of binary function to help go like that, and then it's all connected. So, of course, any part of the holistic system that you fuck with... Fuck. Like roads. Roads are all connected. They go like this. But if you dig one up and put a whole bunch of shit in the middle of it, well, that one's now fucking up the system, isn't it?
Modern medicine really in this form has only existed the last 150 years, if that. So can I ask a question then? What do you think about the current approach to the cold and flu that is being encouraged as preventative measures in order to stay healthy?
Oh, the big cold and flu.
The big beer bug. So what I've found really interesting is nothing they put out there says boost your immune system, get lots of sunlight, go for walks. Nothing's about how to actually heal your body, boost the immune system. It's...
Well, as I said before, you know, like me and you and Phil were talking yesterday, I'm getting over the hump of the frustration of the reaction of other people. Right? I don't think I've mastered my emotions about it, but I'm working on it. So it's stunning to me that anyone just doesn't think like that. Can't you see that you're this? What are you talking about? I've been on this planet 53 years. I've been to countries in the world where there's supreme poverty, and I've been there to they don't call them ghettos in South Africa. What do they call them? Townships, like big sort of townships and stuff. I've done gigs in these townships, you know, where there's 3 million people living in huts, corrugated iron sheds. They're all right. I watched some documentary once on some very bad place in Africa where basically, I think we were telling you yesterday, they just shit on the beach. There's no facilities. There's no anything. They got AIDS. They're living in tin sheds. They're prostitutes screwing guys with AIDS who just took a shit on a beach. Right? No viruses come out of there and just shut down the planet. It's a disgusting place. But all of a sudden you tell me that a virus from a bat, which can't transfer to humans anyway, animal viruses, they don't transfer because they're not living viruses, and I'm not an epidemiologist or whatever you're supposed to be, virologist. But from what I've read recently, I didn't know anything about viruses. I wasn't interested. That's why I never get sick. So yeah, but the obviousness of that, well, immediately for something like this, well, obviously if your country or society was on your side and was wise, considering that you can just go on the internet and watch nutritionists from all over the world telling you stuff now. Right, they can tell you, well, take bicarbonate of soda for your intestinal tract, and most of your serotonin's made in the gut, so keep your gut flora healthy and do this, and make sure you can take this for your blood, and take, the Indians knew heaps about herbs, so, get into your turmeric and your saffron and this and that, clears your blood and keeps this going, and cayenne pepper makes your blood cells work, tons of stuff. Right? And so, but your society just goes, no, get inside, you bunch of fucking slaves. Doesn't even once go, right, get some mushroom extract, go and see a naturopath now, go and get some, or even look up on the internet what's good for your immune system, how is your diet, check your diet. You should be checking your diet anyway. Right, so...
That stuff is actually actively not allowed. The CEO or the owner or whatever she is, the butt plug, Susan Wojcicki, she was interviewed and she said that people who say you need to take vitamin C or you can take turmeric, she said that stuff is actively dangerous. And they need to ban people spreading this information.
Yeah, well, see, these people, she is a demon who's manifested into human form. And one day she will pay. When she passes into the next world and she realizes she has no soul, and to go, how do I get to travel in here without a soul? Well, you don't. So I send her blessings because she's a zombie and she needs help. Yeah, these people are insidious. And here's what the funny thing is that but they offer you a great opportunity for the brainwashed. What? Stop listening to them. Get back your independence of thought. Who are these troglodytes telling you this stuff? Stand up for yourself. Just go and do it. Like what are you talking about? It doesn't work. How do you think people got through millennia of time? They worked stuff. You're on the earth, which is a profoundly amazing thing. So what? Created by God, source, or whatever you want to call it, in a multi-fractal, multi-dimensional quantum field that's currently trapped in a 3D reality. Everything is here. Everything's here in nature. But you don't know, but where am I going to find it? I've got to go to work, I've got to do this. Yeah, I know, because you're trapped in the matrix. See, I've only worked out recently when I used to read a lot of guys, alternative guys who would talk about energy harvesting.
You're getting a little bit glitchy. Just hang on a second.
Well, that's because we started to talk serious.
Oh, you reckon? It's getting grabbled. Not allowed to talk about vitamin C and herbs.
As long as we talk about reaction videos, we're all right.
You go back to talking about comedians and metal music.
So what were we saying?
Sorry?
What were we saying?
We were talking about the demons that people listen to and never tell the troglodytes to sort of fuck off.
Yeah. It
is seriously getting grabbled. I wonder if that's...
It's what, sorry?
Oh, getting grabbled. The grabblers are grabbling the net. Interesting.
They're so boring, aren't they? A little desperate power play to try and shut up the galactic majesty of the human race.
Keep
it's
everyone
pathetic.
Separated from their divinity. You can't have that.
But yeah, I mean, it's as soon as the flu started, because they're lying, folks. When has this ever happened in your lifetime? This is unprecedented in human history. So.
You mean telling the whole world that this has a 99.998% recovery rate? Telling the whole world, look, barely anyone's dying. We're telling you no one's dying, but we're also telling you to put your mask on and stay in your house. Yeah,
I think these are... it's stunning.
It's been enough.
I think it's like a cultic spells.
It's been it's amazing to watch people, I had no idea the extent. Because now there's a physical manifestation of something where you can gauge someone's internal condition just by looking at someone. You're one of them. You're either fearful or a coward.
Totally, man. And as we were talking yesterday, you want the worst virus is the fear. And as we were talking yesterday, and they go, well, do you think it's real, Steve? Well, I don't know. But I'll tell you this, like we were talking yesterday, you know, once you all start believing it is. Because you're powerful. So they're actually using your own power against you. By what? Because now you're just going to manifest it for them. Good on you.
Consent, yeah.
And then we have to sit around with these people going, if you don't wear a mask, you're a thoughtless, selfish cunt. Really? Well, if you do one, you're bringing the world into slavery. So you're more than a thoughtless, selfish cunt, mate. You're a fucking moron. Ill-informed fucking retard. Maybe we should bleep that bit.
The
But you know, I've spewed a lot of hate in my life, but it's mainly been at myself, because you know, all the hate in myself for myself, I project it onto the world. I don't like to use projection as always a thing, because lefties love projection there as well. But you know, it came back to me. You know, I could see it all, right? And I guess there was a little part of the frustration of my own soul that I've always been. I'm not an intellectually smart man or a gifted man with special powers or anything, but I've always just had an ability to see. Come on, folks, like
see through bullshit.
Well, even at school, you know, I never picked on anyone, and I wonder why is the best-looking guy in school who gets all the girls and is good at sport hitting the weakest kid here? Mate, you've already got it. And now you want to ruin someone who's got less than you. Less than you in the sense of what we think is having better stuff in the 3D world. You know, the kid may be an internal genius in other realms and have a better soul. But I used to go, why are you... I couldn't work it out. What's... I'd hang around half those kids who got picked on. They're nice guys. No, I didn't care. I didn't give a shit. I don't want to hang around these morons. And I'd watch other people who would hang around picking on them, but I knew they kind of felt bad doing it, but did it anyway.
The order,
you know what I mean?
Followers, huh?
Oh, yeah, right. They kind of did it anyway. They're the ones I have less respect for. At least the bully's out front. You know, g'day, I'm a cunt.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
exactly.
Whereas the other ones that aren't really and don't really think, they know it's a bit wrong, but follow along. And I'm like, I can still remember in primary school, I realised that guys were spinning shit or people were making crap stories up. And I thought, I wonder what it's like to just spin bullshit to try and be popular. So I went into school one day, I made up a story to tell everyone to see if I felt any better. Right?
What was this story?
Oh, some dumb thing about just a silly kid story about, I ate a pie once, it was so hot, and I threw it, and it landed on the roof and stuck there, and I didn't know how to get it off. Well, I think it was something like that. It was just a stupid story. Look how crazy I am, and I didn't know how to get the pie off, and my mum's going to come home or something or other. And then after about 2 or 3 times to tell this to kids, I went, no, I feel ridiculous. Right, it's just, so that was the end of that. I woke up to that stuff pretty quick. Other stuff in my life I didn't wake up too quick to. Took decades. But yeah, so to answer the question from the beginning, what did you think about this first started? You know, the lies were so obvious, it's just...
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to me. And as we were talking about yesterday, I haven't watched the news once. I don't even think about it. I keep informed because I don't want to go into some kind of denial. Because you get, you know. But it's like, it just doesn't faze me. I don't even think about it.
So when you say be informed, it's more sort of be informed as to where everyone else is at, as opposed to what they're saying is going on, really.
Oh man, it's given us a great barometer to see the level of indoctrination. It's quite profound, especially in Australia, where they seem to love it.
Yep. They're begging for it, man.
Well, not love it, like they're having a great time.
Yeah, but they are.
Yeah, I know. Some people are actually still fucking begging.
People want more mandates. They've been saying we need compulsory masks. We need stricter border controls.
Oh, I've watched them. I watch like when they fucking, New Zealand's just as bad, and then they shut that down again because they got 4 cases or something. Which is the problem, right? They go, yeah, but Steve, there's 330 people died from this. They go, yeah, but who told you that? Oh, the news. Well, why would I believe them? They've lied about everything else for the last 50 years. Why would you think I believe that? So that's what's their problem. So when they go, well, what do you know, Steve? Well, not much. Why? Because there's lies everywhere.
You know what isn't
right,
true?
So,
that's enough, yeah.
So why would I believe this? I mean, I was suggesting, well, maybe if you put your thing over your nose, you wear your mask, maybe you could block your ears as well, and that way, as they say, if some of the senses go down, the other senses develop better. So perhaps your eyesight will develop better, and then we can all go to Iraq and see if we can find those weapons of mass destruction. Remember those people that told you there was weapons of mass destruction there? Yeah, that's them. Yeah, but that didn't affect me, didn't it? You're all connected. Totally affected you. And you believe in global warming. Yeah, of course I do. Well, who told you about global warming? The same system that drops depleted uranium all over the Middle East.
You can't.
So they care about
one though.
They care about the planet, do they?
You sound like a climate change denier, Steve.
I am a climate change denier.
They give you these words. You're a denier, climate change denier. They've come up with anti-masker now. That didn't exist 2 months ago. You're an anti-masker. Wow.
Well, everything. If I disagree with feminism, I'm anti-woman or I'm anti-feminism. Everything's anti.
You hate every woman in the whole world, Steve. All 3 billion.
All of them. All of them.
Yeah.
Those lovely little grandmothers sitting in Wales knitting fucking stuffed toys for their grandchildren. What a bunch of bitches, right? It's just. See, I know. They're so insulting. It's profound. They're so stupid. But now do you know what they are to me? These people who still, laugh at conspiracy theories and everything. These people to me, I just look at them like all the hate and the frustration that would gather up in me over these people. I realised, as we were talking yesterday, that's my hate. I've had a lot of hate in me from my upbringing, projected towards myself, self-hate. And that's mine. So I'll own that now. I used to just hate them and project it out and go on stage and fucking go, you fucking retards, and carry on and just... But now I realise, okay, and it's easier to do that. It's more fun because the ego loves it.
Yep.
It's harder to be wise. Because your ego and your conditioning wants to fucking lash out, loves that position of apparent authority it thinks it has,
It's easier to cancel the comedian who made the jokes as opposed to assess why the jokes made you cry in the first place.
So I'm just so when I look at these people now, they're just like, can't even think for 1 second that there's something nefarious going on in the world. I just look at them like you're just you're like history to me. You don't even really exist. You're so behind the ball. You're like someone who's running around telling everybody, do you know there's a band called Black Sabbath? Like you're like a dinosaur. You're ridiculous. Like a child. I just look at them like child. Oh, yes, Dave, it's just the 5G lizard's going to come out and get you just because you watch a couple of YouTube videos. No, you've watched a couple of YouTube videos. That's the problem.
If that, though, really. We've seen a few Facebook posts from Greta Thunberg.
Oh, and they fell for that.
Yeah.
Heck, it's amazing. So what are you telling me? Oh, there was a 14-year-old Swedish girl, however old she is, sitting in a nondescript village in the middle of Sweden.
From a celebrity family, by the way. But,
From a celebrity family. From a celebrity.
Coincidence.
From a celebrity family connected to Antifa and, high echelons of certain. Mm-hmm. But without even that angle. Let's just look at it and say it wasn't like that, right? Are you telling me that some 16-year-old girl with Asperger's who got eating disorders from finding out the planet was dying or something when she was 10, went out the front of the Swedish Parliament and had a little petition, and then all of a sudden the United Nations just rang up and said, you know what, do you reckon you could come down here and yell at us? Right, just call us fucking morons and idiots and point and scowl at us. And oh, guess what? You're not going to believe this, Greta. The world press just happens to be here. Right? You know, who'd have thought? So, yeah, lads, turn your cameras on, lads. We'll see what this young lass has to say. Oh, we'd never thought of that.
To accept a narrative like that, it shows that they trust, though. That's the foundation of it. They trust these people. They trust the people at the UN. They can't break it down as it's a bunch of individuals. Alright, how many are convicted pedophiles? How many have been involved with child trafficking? I'm like, they make up this group that you trust. That's what bowls me over.
Yeah, but half of them don't even know that because, you know, a friend of mine put a post up the other day, and then some woman, she's Australian, she came on, she's probably, 60 or something. Not a woman I'm going to yell at or anything, but I'm glad that my friend Marina could comment, because she came on and with this big post about, this is a very irresponsible post, because there's a virus and it's gone like this and it does this, and if America had done what Australia had done earlier because of that stupid leader Donald Trump, then things would, and reading it you just go, this is just the narrative.
Yep.
Right, this is just the script. Just bleh, onto a page. But thankfully Marina is a very advanced soul and came back with, well, Alison, we'll see what happens. So love and blessings and prayers, which is the, because she's just an old, it's just I didn't expect this grandmother, if she's a grandmother, to be digging around David Icke books and looking up the, so, but I'm still quite astounded at the level of just bleh, just regurgitation of a narrative.
You wind them up and comes out the meat puppets with the fucking narrative hand shoved up their bums.
See, when I grew up in the 70s, people had opinions at least. That's why, your parents said things like, well, if you have a dinner party, you don't talk about politics or religion. Why? Because they knew that people could have different opinions, and we'll have a dinner party, right? We won't get involved in heated discussions because people would have different opinions. But now people get into heated arguments. Why? Because there's 6 of them just blah, 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 blah. No opinions. Just. It's like those squirt boys. It's like those squirt boys you were talking about, right? It's just like watching the Pavlovian blah, blah. Like, and they're just so rude and dumb and you've, but I'm trying to evolve into loving them.
How's that going?
Right. Takes work.
Yeah.
But now I'm doing the work. As I said, I hate the word spiritual because it's bastardized, like the word God and everything, all those words are bastardized and stained.
Preloaded with a meaning that everyone assumes.
Yeah, exactly. They come preloaded with a meaning, So, because people hear the word spiritual, then they just think of New Age or hippies and like this, and it's like, and spiritual work is actually the most difficult work in the fucking world. It's not all bright lights and sunshine. No, it's dark nights of the soul and hate and darkness and self-loathing and depression and fucking deep. To become a shaman is a big process. I'm not a shaman. To become a shaman, like some of them don't make it. They go mad. It's no, to open your body up to high vibrational frequencies above what most of us are at, with the universe, the power of the universe behind them. You want to have strong mind, soul, pineal gland, mind-body connection, kundalini, something going on. Otherwise, your whole thing could just blow apart.
Could I ask something a little personal then? When you say you're doing the work, what are the steps that you consider putting the work in? Do you meditate or things like that?
Well, what I've started to realise now is that I too, as we are frustrated at these people who just Pavlovian response and listen to the rubbish, I see that there's a part of me that's also connected to needing a perhaps outside help. And there's nothing wrong with outside help. If I want to learn to play drums better, then it's good to go and see the guy from Rush. Better than it is to go and see someone who hasn't played any drums. I understand, the experts, if you're right.
You can't really see him now, though, didn't he die?
This year. Perfect timing, right? So, not for his wife and child, of course, but, But I, too, would have a kind of, I need some instruction. Sometimes you do need instruction, especially if you want to start delving around in the spirit realms or the unconscious. You sometimes may need some instruction. It's not child's play to just go wandering in there like,
hijacked by your own monsters.
But there's level. But there, I realise that now. No, I'm starting. Again, if you just do work, I wouldn't tell anyone that here's a path that you should take, because your soul will work that out for you. I can't, because I always remember Krishnamurti, that Indian fella who they wanted to make him a guru. He went through a lot of, even the British establishment taking him on board, but he didn't want to become a guru, but he's a wise guy. One of his most famous saying is, it's of no great sign of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. Right? That's his most famous saying. But another one he said, which I always stuck in my mind, was that when he said, "Truth is a pathless land," and I know what that means, or as my soul interprets that as a way. What there is no linear direction. There's no answer. There's truth is beyond your personality, your mind, time, space. And the truth will never be fathomed by the human mind in a 3D conditioned state. It can't conceptualize it.
So would you say truth cannot be subjective?
We're talking about truth here in the sense of, I think, big, deep cosmic truths, not cosmic laws and stuff, not truths in the sense of objectional facts that we need to sometimes, that we all need to clarify so that we can have a map to go through 3D world. Like in the sense of, there's 97 different genders. This is not helpful. Right? It's not true. Well, there could be perhaps in the quantum field. Like if you evolve beyond 3D time, maybe there is 97 genders. I'll grant you that. A collective unity amongst all living beings. But you're not there.
The ones who espouse it are probably some of the least evolved people in character and spirit that I've ever met. Which is the biggest irony of it all. And they turn it into a fashion statement. If I'm dressed like this, I'm not being a girl and I'm not being a boy. It's not binary. It's still fucking clothes.
Well, I think what they do is actually they utilize something that human beings have in abundance. And a great aspect of being a human being is compassion and empathy and the ability to feel for the other and want to help. And so I think the great powers utilize that the great power. I don't call them great. The dark shit powers, pissant,
The controllers.
tiny dick powers. They use that against us.
Yeah.
And so when you give a story of, perhaps gays have copped some harder shit at times than other people, and this and that, and then that empathy that gets stirred up in some of these young people comes up, the compassion, the empathy, the desire to not want to see others suffer.
Yeah.
Because unless you're a psychopath, who really wants to see people suffer, animals suffer, or things suffer,
Mm-hmm.
But then they utilize that and bastardize that glorious part of the human being, and then they infect their minds with propaganda and ideology and so underneath they've used their humanness, and then they bastardize it to turn them into just a fucking rabid little Pavlovian thought police dog, So it's kind of sad watching that, And it's sad watching these poor 20-year-olds waste their 20s running around going, "Well, you're a fascist. Would you, mate? Why don't you just go and join a band and fucking get laid?" Right?
The one from me is they're always you gotta stop the fascists, you gotta stop the dictators. I'm like, mate, have you been to Melbourne? Have you been anywhere in the world? Every government is dictatorial on its own face of it.
It's as I said, all these words like fascist, racist, sexist, they mean nothing to me anymore. They're like the boy who cried wolf.
Yeah.
They're just ridiculous. Like, oh, you're a racist. Oh, well, just shut, whatever.
This might just say thank you, but not yet. They wouldn't know what to do with that.
You don't know me, mate. I've never been a racist ever. Ever. Did I grow up thinking that some lebs were fucking cunts? Fuck yeah. Why? Because you get a half leb, half Aussie in the 70s? Oh, it's a maniac. Right? But it wasn't because he was Lebanese, it was because he was a dick. Right? Right. So I've never had that problem. While there's Chinese people over there and black people over there and, Italians and that over there, and fucking, I never gave a fuck. I never crossed my mind to think that I should hate them. I don't know why. Maybe I'm an old soul. I don't know why. I just didn't seem weird to me. What? There's people from other countries. Oh, I know. And some of them are black. Yeah. Well, who cares, man? I don't know, but some people seem to nearly get affected by it.
Well, a lot of people still fall for the back and forth. I'm not a racist because I have black friends, and at this point, I'm just like, you're a racist. What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
You say it is, and I could deny it. We're talking two different languages at this point. I
mean, I remember when I decided when this stuff started getting a bit heavy in the end of the 2000s. I thought I'm going to look up the word racist, see where it comes from. It's only invented in 1917.
Yep. By who?
Oh.
And what for?
Yeah. For the betterment of mankind.
Sounds like a good plan.
Right. Just want to, we got to, catch these nasty people out. Now, is there some ignorant motherfuckers that hate other people for these reasons? Yeah. But, maybe they're a reflection of a part of you. So that's the path I'm going now, So, yeah, they are. Why? Because you're living in a polarity anyway, so you're living in duality. So, if it's true what Einstein said, with every action has an equal and opposite reaction, then doesn't that mean if you try and create more love, then the same amount of hate will manifest to balance that out? Because wouldn't that be a cosmic law within duality? So go to as many peace marches as you want. But unless you've owned the darkness in yourself when you're at that peace march, then you're just still battling in duality. And in one sense, if you're all there denying the darkness and just preaching for the light, you're probably creating more darkness. So I don't go to peace marches.
Protest is basically asking.
I'm laughing a lot. I'm laughing a lot today because I don't speak to many people.
Yeah.
And I'm getting excited. I'm like my brother when he used to live in the woods, and then I'd go up there and I haven't spoken to anyone for months, mate. But I've got to a point now where feminism is the one that disturbs me the most. It's the one that, because that's the big duality, that's the big divide between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Yeah. That's a split down the middle of the two symphonic unions that come together to create life.
Yeah. It's an incredibly.
And so I sit there and I go, now this will probably upset some people, right?
Maybe.
Won't upset you, but. See, if I'd like to say, to one of these lefties, I mean, do you think, because the problem with progressives is they don't seem to hold anything sacred, right? Because they're progressive, so everything, they don't see anything as sacred. They see all tradition that is as oppression, it seems.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say to them, do you think that giving birth is sacred? I'd like to see what they say to that. Do they think, because you're all for abortions and that? So I was just wondering if you think that and you're so into feminism, apparently into the feminine.
Yeah. So
do you think that giving birth is sacred? Well, if they said yes, then I'd go, do you think that homosexuality should have the same sacredness? Because if I have sex with a woman with the aim of having children, then through that connection of the polarities, the masculine and feminine, then the woman is impregnated and a soul comes into the woman, and then through the divine mother, a child comes out. But if I just have sex with a guy, what happens? Nothing. Nothing. So why would I give that the same sacredness?
Well, it's a squirt versus, a life.
And it's funny, these people that call me, heteronormative, and it's not that don't be homosexual or any of this, or I don't like homosexuals, or it's nothing to do with it. We're talking about the way these people have no desire to hold anything sacred and think that everything's equal. Well, it's not. I don't see homosexuality as equal to heterosexuality, because heterosexuality involves the creation of life.
Equality has been one of the most dangerous lies ever to be pushed as a virtue.
Completely.
On people.
I had a joke years ago, and I used to go, I'm not into equality. And people would go, how can you not be into equality, Steve? And I used to go, because I already know that there's people that I'm far superior to. And they all used to freak, right? The audience, right? And then they go, what do you mean? I go, well, it's just true. There's people that I'm superior to. And the funny thing is that there's men and women who are superior to me. And if I'm lucky enough to meet them, maybe I'll learn something. Now, obviously, I could live in that paradox and know that equality doesn't exist in the sense of the union of the human. Yeah, it doesn't exist to me where I figure that anyone's better, but I'm talking it sort of in an evolved into the quantum field, beyond time. It's my big thing now. I think that's the evolutionary step we have to make, which is beyond time and away from this slavery system. And we need to heal the planet. And we can do it because we turn into a different vibrational being. And a lot of that stuff will just dematerialize. People can't fathom that. What are you talking about? Now, it's like I'll still do good acts, but if tomorrow we all went to the oceans and pulled every bit of plastic out of the oceans tomorrow, we all got together and went and did it. If we didn't change the consciousness that put it in there in the first place, it'd just be back in there in the next 2 years. Because all we did was an action without changing the same consciousness that let us put it in there.
It's treating the symptom. A lot of the movements today is to treat symptoms of a spiritual disease. It's only spirituality will save this world.
Yeah, which is kind of reminiscent of Western medicine. You know, everything mirrors back. Everything mirrors back. So, you know.
That's what I always also.
What? You know, I don't hate Western medicine, but I'm like, but why would I think that pills? And I've been through, you know, I did jokes against giving kids psych drugs, anybody psych drugs. I didn't make judgment calls on people who were hardcore psychiatric patients or whatever they did, but still, I think there's better ways to cure them. I've read stories of there was a shaman guy, an African shaman, who went around America in the 70s and went into mental institutions and actually said, I can see spirits everywhere. Entities everywhere. And he got one kid and took him back to a village or something, and the guy ended up just coming back 4 years later.
Wow.
We'll go and heal the guy. How? Because we know what's going on. Yeah, right. So yeah, I would get rid of Big Pharma, all of it. I would get rid of all of it, right? But for now, most people couldn't comprehend that, right? But I find the whole thing disgusting. I mean, if you want to get healthy, don't go to a hospital. Jesus Christ, you know, they're soulless, demonic places.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone, you know, how many people how many people like being in hospitals? Not even to visit. Oh, I don't want to go in there. You know why? Because it's demonic.
Yeah. Well, the stats more people are killed by doctors every year than this thing has, apparently, anyway.
If you were going to walk into a healing centre, isn't this a place of apparent healing? Shouldn't I feel wonderful in here?
Harsh, bright light, get you started.
You know, shouldn't I feel wonderful in here? Shouldn't there be an energetic of positivity and or even, you know, but grief, but processed properly, or the understanding of death, or wouldn't there be a plate? Wouldn't I come in here and you would feel the... I mean, why do people like it when they go to Bali on holidays and sit under some bamboo hut and it's, you know, in the jungle and there's a waterfall and they go, oh, it's wonderful here. Yeah. Why? Because it's healing. And then you go into a hospital and go, oh, it's horrible in here, but I guess this is the way it's got to be. No, it doesn't. But all these things I'd see now, they are what? Well, to me, you know, they would be what? A representation of us, of our unprocessed stuff and our consent to be slaves. And so we have the, you know, as we were talking about yesterday, this flu has given us a massive opportunity. It's massive. Yeah. Because as I said before, I heard about guys, you know, conspiracy theory guys, you know, as they call them, years ago, about energy harvesting. Right? Yeah. And I never quite understood what they meant. It sounded a bit too matrixy, and I couldn't quite get what they meant, you know. But now I know. And it's any kind of allegiance to the 3D matrix. Like your tax is energy harvesting because you worked, so you put your time and effort, which is energy, into this, and then you got the money for the fair exchange or whatever, the goods for the work, and then they came in and took some. So what did they do? They harvest your energy. Yeah. So now when you're locked into worshipping celebrities, Now that part of your focus, which could be turned inwards on you understanding what a godlike being you are, is now going out here. And they harvest it.
Yeah.
And as they harvest this energy, all this stuff that you're putting out here is locking you into the mainframe.
You're the battery.
And so now so now you're plugged in. What? The doctor's going to help me. Even though the doctors kill more people every year and the pills don't work, but I'm plugged in. And I'm giving my energy, I'm giving away my sovereignty, my responsibility to myself, my independence to this tendril that goes over here to the medical establishment. Then one goes over here to the government and they take my money and tell me if I do this, they'll send the police who'll come and do stuff to me. And then the education system, they got me way back. So there's another one. And that tells you what? Well, history's this. Yeah. And it only goes like that. And scientific laws have to be obeyed. And everything's like this. And there's that tendril hanging over here. And then there's the money that's got you over here. And that's doing what? That's getting you into debt and making you spend 8 hours or 5 days a week so they could give you $600 at the end of it.
So you can get some Babylonian magic squares.
So that matrix is right. These tendrils, which you have now conceptualized into reality, and now you operate within this reality with these, and it gets even deeper than that because they understand the fractals and universe and energy and occultism and magic and the power of the heart and the power of words and numbers and then you're wandering around with all these invisible tendrils hanging out of you going, my opinion, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And I don't see. I used to hate these people, but now I realise I was one of them. Of course, I was. I grew up here. We're all. I've got them.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm working on them. A lot of them I didn't have as bad as some people, thankfully. As I said, because when I was young, I was just hey, you know. A very great friend of my father's, who I adored as a child. She was this fat woman from America who was in the Blob with Steve McQueen as an extra, and she went to Woodstock and took drugs and saw Hendrix, and she went in a loony bin because she lost the plot and everything. And she was just an interesting woman. I loved these characters, these eccentric women, you know. And she told me something when I was young that just stuck in my head. She goes, if you see a whole group of people going one way, I went, yeah. She goes, go the other way.
Yep.
I remember that. And she's right.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's like, you know, I used to have discussions. There's a friend of mine, Neil, who's a comedian here in England. He's the only guy I talk to, really, about deep stuff, right? But we used to have these conversations, me and him, with these other comedian friends of ours who are more scientific guys. And it's not like, no, don't you think science is wrong, Steve? No. I've got an electric guitar. I don't hate science. Right? But it can turn into a dictatorship easily, and you can be in a horrible, sterile world, so I'd fucking watch yourselves. But we used to have these conversations with these guys who were more, you know, bright brain science guys. And we discussed things like either telepathy or healing the body with the mind and, you know, aligning frequency with power with your mind-body connection. They'd be like, just fucking bullshit, right? And what always amazed me was like, why don't you want this to be true? Which part of you is so shrunken that you can't even fathom that your mind, which you can lie in your bed and travel around the world at night, You could go, I'm going to fly over Canada, fly over Russia, go to China, say wave to all the Chinese, fly over India. In my imagination, I could go everywhere tonight. I'll go to Bulgaria and Transylvania and Romania and just... And they go, yeah, but that's just your imagination. No, you don't get it. I went there.
Yeah.
Where? In the imagination. Yeah, but that's just the imagination. No, what is that? yeah, right. Oh, it's just a word they told us.
Yeah. They usually say something.
Well, they told us at school, didn't they? Most people at school. Sorry.
No, it's alright.
We're bunging it. Well, at school they told us that imagination was the made up. Didn't they? That's the kind of word. That's the kind of. We came out of school. What's your imagination? The stuff you just make up. No. It's the beginning template of you manifesting godlight into the realms. I didn't mention that bit.
Well, that sounds like a movie. It's like, why do you think it's all in the movies? Because then you compartmentalize everything into, it just sounds like a movie. It's a book. There's no magic in real life.
Yeah.
Hobbits
How boring was school? I never understood these people that go, oh, I miss school. It was the best years of my life. I thought, mate, if school was the best years of your life, you've had a crap life.
But what about those who say that that's where you go to learn social skills? I'm like, I haven't heard anyone have good stories about socializing in school.
That is the other one that just makes me go, oh, fuck off. Fuck off. Oh, yeah, send a 4-year-old who's still involved in just the emotional body even growing. I mean, I only heard something the other night. It makes a lot of sense. You know, this guy has said in like the first 7 years, because it's interesting, the Scandinavians wouldn't send their kids to school till they were 7. And this guy was saying in the first 7 years of the life is the emotional body development of the child. Then the next, from 7 to 14, is the mental, intellectual development. And then from 14 to 21, you get the puberty, biological, physical development. It comes that way.
That part.
And of course it does, because kids don't come.
Yeah. Kids
don't come out of the womb going, you know, let's go for a run. I've got some ideas I want to talk to you about. They come out, and they're just... So if you haven't even developed emotionally and they're sending you to school at 5, and then you got to go there to learn social skills while a bunch of other dickhead kids you never met fucking pick on people and fucking push people over and fucking call them names and, oh yeah, learn to socialise.
It's more like a learned trauma, really.
Yeah, mate, I got so much... I can still remember trauma. I can still remember trauma at fucking preschool. Like, what am I doing in this fucking place, you know? And then it was like, how long were you here for? 12, 14 years.
Talk about a concentration camp, you better listen up.
Like, what did I learn in that place? I couldn't do maths. My brain doesn't do maths. We should do it because maths...
Yeah, you learn how to parrot. That's what you do. Memorize.
Couldn't they do us that? Couldn't they do it in fucking 5 years? I mean, surely. Did we need 14? I fucking wagged school so much. Once I could forge my father's signature, mate. I can't go to this fucking place. What is this fucking shit place we have to go all the time?
Can I ask how far did you go with it?
Year 10.
Yeah.
As soon as I could get 11. It. As soon as I could get out.
Yeah.
As soon as, mate. On the last day we can stand around and sign each other's shirts, mate. As soon as they let me out of here, mate, I'm fucking... I don't give a fuck what gets signed. I am fucking out of here, mate. Like... Oh, yeah, just... You could leave at 14 and 9 months then. If my parents had let me, I probably would have, but I didn't have those type of parents. But, oh, yeah. Going to go on for another 2 years and then go to uni? Oh, what? You fucking kidding me?
I've seen girlfriends go into uni and come out the other end broken with dead eyes and We need to talk about periods now, everybody. Periods. What it does to the women, I've seen it. It's tragic.
And they're in debt.
They pay to
I mean,
de-beautify themselves and come out confused about genders and relationships between the sexes.
well, I'm just sitting there going, oh, I do gender studies for 4 years. What the fuck does that even mean? Well, I can do gender studies. See that chick? Yeah, she's fucking hot. Look at that bloke. Look at that bloke. That bloke's ripped. There you go. Finished. What's your name? Brian. Bloke. What's your name? Claire. Chick. There you go. Sorted. Yeah. Where's me diploma?
No wonder they couldn't host you at uni bar.
So yeah, you know, it's a. But I think, you know, well, look at physical birth. There's blood and screaming and pain. I guess. I mean, if you want to be a muscly guy, a ripped guy, there's pain to get that. So I guess people could say it's pain. I moved to England to do comedy with like 2 phone numbers and $500. I had to sit in parks and wait till people got home at night so I could crash on their couch. And no money and didn't know what I was going to do. It seemed more like an adventure than pain to me. But you know, there's people put some stuff in. I don't even know why I went down this path. What were we talking about?
Gender studies.
Yeah, fuck knows. I did this a lot in my old age. I wander off down fucking big explanations and then go, what were we talking about? We'll come back to it. But yeah, going in it, just maybe it was that going to university to come out with 50 grand's debt was just beyond my comprehension how anyone would fall for that. That was just one of the most amazing things I'd ever just... What? How do you fall for this? I mean, I don't own a house or anything. It's a shame. I never wanted to get a debt, though. I never wanted to get a mortgage. I wanted to save money, but then I decided to have a nervous breakdown and lose a lot of my money. But there was a part of me that was just... I never wanted to go, okay, I don't want to be... See, me and my friend Anil said, we were talking about it the other night, even growing up, you met these people that go, oh, I'm 4 grand in debt because I bought a couch. And I was just go, but there's second-hand shops that sell them for $75.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I didn't. What? Why? I could understand if you wanted to get a house, but I still can't. I wouldn't want to. And it might have been easier in 1971 when you got in debt for, you know, $16,000 or $8,000.
You buy a house working at the dairy shop.
I mean, the great irony is that everybody, do they understand? Perhaps the ones that have houses and really understand the legality of it. You don't even really own it. It's never yours. You don't own your car. As soon as you register it, you've signed it away. You're now looking after it for the state.
Isn't your birth certificate on the stock market as well?
Then your birth certificate is the registration of the human into the matrix. There's 3 big things to make this system collapse. Get out of that birth certificate thing. Tax. And just action.
Usury and birth certificate.
As soon as you sign that birth certificate, your parents sign that birth certificate. That's why they take the tax off you. Why? Because they work out over your lifetime through energetics how much apparently you're now worth, and say it's $500,000. I listened to a Dutch guy talk about it. He goes, like every Dutch guy, he goes, the Dutch people, he said, don't get put on the stock exchange. The US birth certificates get put on the stock exchange, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Australian ones did as well, because we're so connected to the British Empire and America and that whole crown thing. So, but he said the Dutch ones don't go on the international stock exchange, but they still work it out like each Dutch person is worth 500,000 euros, and that's what you're going to pay back by the time you're dead. So you're born into debt through this thing by what? Well, because we've just turned you into that false self. You know, that they create the false person. So that's why all your I don't know if you know, I know you've dug around this world, so you probably know this stuff, but that's why all your surname and that on your license or all your bills are in capitals. So if you look at your license, the whole name might be in capitals, or it might say Stephen in lowercase with a capital S, lowercase, but then the Hughes will be in capitals. And that capitals is the registration of me as a false self through the birth certificate. Because that's a false person. Now they can operate with the false law, with the false person. And so then they give you titles like Mr. But you're not Mr. Your parents didn't call you Mr. Stephen Hughes, did they? No. But they add that title, which is a title connected to the false self as well. And so if a cop says to me, are you Mr. Stephen Hughes? And I go, yes, I've just entered the contract. Because I've agreed, I've said, yes, I am. I've admitted through my consent that I am this false self. And then if you look at the words, you know, that go, what is it? It's all in capital letters. And what's money? Well, it's capital. And where's Washington? On Capitol Hill. Right? And where's it come from? From Capitol Hill in Rome.
Yeah, Vatican, London, and Washington, they're all separate entities.
Yeah, they're separate entities, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, the Vatican does the spiritual work, London does the money work, and the fucking Washington does the military.
Yep.
Right? So then once you know you signed that soul away to the Vatican with this birth certificate thing, now all these fines and tax that you're getting is all illegal to you as a living man and woman, because they have no right within the framework of the planet. And what do we say? They have to create a false you so that they can do it legally, because they're also doing it through British maritime admiralty law.
They have no jurisdiction otherwise.
Yeah. So what they've done is they're using British maritime law, which is the law of commerce, because that's the law of the sea.
Yeah.
Which is why you have currency.
The banks of the river.
The banks.
Yeah.
And then that's why all ships are named after women, because they give birth. They birth ships, right? Yeah. And what comes out of ships? Well, that's like who captains the ship? The captain, the capital, the captain of the ship that brings the goods, and then you sign the certificate of manifest.
Yeah.
To show that the goods have been delivered, like a birth certificate. And then what happens? Well, it's got to go to the banks, down the currency.
The banks of the shore, yeah.
And then what happens when your mother gives birth? Well, her water breaks, and she comes down. You come down the birth canal, right? Yeah. To await who? The doctor. Right. Yeah. Right. So there you go, folks, and everyone goes, Steve.
You're reaching.
You believe all that stuff? You can get a word, Steve, but you know, doctor, really, Steve? Well, I guess it's all coincidence.
Coincidence theorist, right?
Coincidence theorist, right? It's all just coincidence that if you get into debt, what happens? You go under. Right. Yeah. Right. When you walk into a court, you have to stand where? In the dock. Why? Because when you go into that court, you're going in there under the birth certificate name, which means you're getting judged through the maritime law, which is not legal in the law of the land, which is common law. So that's why the birth certificate creates the false you, so that commerce law can now have a dictate over you. Because they actually can't have a dictate over you through common law of the man and woman of the soil, of the land. So they've put you in the stock exchange through the registration, attached you to the maritime commerce law, got you involved in capital, banks, currencies, birthing, death, right, which are all energetic words to create psychological matrices. Well, Steve, you don't know. Come on.
Everyone's scared of the second wave, right? A wave.
There you go. The second wave, right? Right.
Word spells, isn't it?
Called spelling. Yeah. So, and people don't know these things. And I haven't got out of my birth certificate. Fuck, I don't even know where the fucking thing is. A friend of mine in Melbourne's doing it right now. Yeah. It takes a lot.
You can legally do that.
You can get out of it.
Ah, interesting.
Takes work. You need lawyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. But that's one of these great things, because also they're harvesting energy from that stuff too. They're harvesting your soul.
Speaking of energy harvesting, I've got a friend who's still stuck in Melbourne trying to get out, and she says the energy in that city off the moment is wrong. She said it's something so vibrationally wrong, you can sense that there's something wrong in the air in the city. Can you imagine all that fear and...
Which is such a shame, because all that fear, here's the way I would look at it now. All that fear that's come up, the individuals have to own it. So, as I said, they've been given this great opportunity. Why? Because no one really likes getting up every day. They know within their heart of hearts, within their soul, that they come to Earth. Why do you think they go to a festival in the bush for 2 weeks and go, imagine if we could live like this all the time? That's your soul talking. Because you can. You can live like that all the time.
Yeah.
But they don't understand it. You're in paradise. It's like Elon Musk wants to go to Mars. I'm like, why? Have you been to look at Canada? What do you want to go to a dead red rock with no water or fucking air? Right? like it's unbelievable. And that's a sin. You can't ruin this place and then just move to another place.
It's like
you're not allowed to do that.
Attitude, isn't it? It's sort of instilling that in people. We're going to find life elsewhere. It gives them that escape hatch once again. We're not responsible for what else happens now. We're going to find that.
Oh yeah, it's almost like the throwaway attitude of like in the old days when your toaster broke, you took it down to the bloke down the road and he fixed it. But then he just throw it away.
Things are designed to break. Yeah.
So it's almost like is that the kind of attitude they got for the Earth? Oh well, we'll just get another one. No, I listened to this very wise young Romanian kid the other day. I think he might be an advanced soul who's come back because he was talking deep, sacred geometry and cosmic mathematics with an ease that was ridiculous, right? But he said something that really stuck in my head, and people go, oh, he goes, oh, you think even if you die that you can get out of that, there's another thing we can get into, even when you die, are you out of the matrix? Many people would say no, right? They'll harvest you back in. Right? But he also said that even without that, the very fact that your consciousness, you've seen radiation in the world, right? You've seen the pollution. He goes, that's imprinted in your soul's memory now, which means that if you think that even when you die, you can get to another thing, it'll be like, no, it'll pull you back. Why? Because you can't leave this place a mess. And also, here's the thing. Why would you want to leave it?
Yeah.
It's glorious. Glorious, right? And it only seems horrible now because you're enslaved and you're still in the 3D world where you think that all matter is solid, so it's sharp and the edges hurt you and it's and it can be cold and that. Why? Because it's but even scientists have told you. Even scientists have told you it's not really solid. And you like to flaunt your, yeah, I know that. Yeah, but you don't really believe it, do you? You don't. What I think, was it Einstein's fucking, I don't know if it was him or one of those blokes,
Einstein.
said that some, yeah, I don't trust him. But it's like,
MC squared. Einstein married his cousin twice.
yeah, I don't trust him, but he said some decent things. It's that saying, it's a great saying when he goes, yeah, all matter is an illusion. He goes, a very stubborn one, I'll grant you that. Right? Like, exactly, right? You know, if you think it's an illusion, but you try to walk through the bathroom wall, well, but you can't do it on this level.
Yeah.
Because you're still in it, like where you see it like that, right? Because we know there's these shamanic people that talk to plants, and we know they're there. I've met them. It's like why, you know, when I grew up, I couldn't understand why people would always put shit on Aboriginals either, right? It really offended me. That offended me when I was growing up. And like, and that people would think they couldn't think the way that the empires that went around the world, excuse me, labelled them as primitives and savages, right? And I say, no, they're not primitives or savages. They're so beyond shit you don't understand, right? You can't tell me that those Aboriginal fellas are dancing around those fires, stomping their feet into the ground for hours on end and blowing didgeridoos and shaking things for no reason. I mean, do you think they're dumb and they're just doing it? No, nothing's happening. No. No, they're communing in humbleness with the great fucking spirits, with the great quantum. And they understand in their humbleness that they'll be guardians of this. Because they and so they realise don't live in time. If you live in time, you'll become a plantation slave because time's not real. What do you mean time's not real, Steve? Well, it's just, how is it real? I mean, it's real, but it isn't. Animals don't wear watches. And they're in the same reality as us. You can see a dog and a deer or a cow. It doesn't know what time it is. So therefore, it's in no time. While you're standing next to it, claiming time is real. But it's not in time, and you're with it. So there's two timelines to begin with. Or one timeline and one non-timeline, right? So, and time is handy if you need to catch a plane. But it's not. It's just, to me, it just frames space.
Yeah. And
now you as an object think that you're going somewhere. And time is dripping by. And yeah, that was then and this is now. No. Take that off. It's all now. There was no past or future. And yet, for the kind of political battles that we go up against in these certain ideologies, they're also trying to destroy history. So we're in this kind of weird juxtaposition where we don't particularly want to, they'll take some of the things away from us to make us even more imprisoned. But there's some of the things that aren't real anyway. If you know what I mean, like, I don't think, why do you think they've got these Black Lives Matter people and these little morons to run around kicking down statues? Well, to destroy history. What do you think when they go to Iraq and that? They bomb the museums. Yep. They bomb the ancient sites. They bomb the pyramids, the old temples, the old things. Why? To destroy history. They loot the fucking museums and they take the shit back and smash it up. Because this is like communist China having year zero.
It's textbook cultural revolution, isn't it?
Yeah. So can you create a global no history? and also with multiculturalism and mixed race mixing and everything, a non just an amalgamation of nothing with people that have no traditions, or almost like Neapolitan ice cream, you know, strawberry, vanilla and chocolate, but they just want to get it mixed all into a big gloop. Yet the irony, as I always say, behind that kind of idea, perhaps that is the right word, is there's a great profound truth that you are all the same and borders don't exist. Because they don't exist. They're man-made, but they serve a purpose within this structure we have at the moment. But they want the new world order, so you've got to get rid of all those borders and all those, even the borders of male and female.
Yeah.
Total lack of sovereignty on all levels. Nothing left. There is no blacks or whites, or everything's mixed. Everyone's got to be the same. Men are women, women are men. Men are dogs. Men can be 3-year-olds if they want.
Well, this is why they push
as long as you're not
on children. If you get them that are confused, then they're a non-entity right from the start, and they're relying on your hormone blockers for the rest of their life.
Yeah. Plus, you change the language, so you start not calling people parents, but caregiver 1 and caregiver 2, which then, here's what people don't understand, and I don't know the complexities of it or the realities of it, so I wouldn't go on stage and quote. But I think that they would then, when you change the names, that then changes the law. Because the word parent has a biological, it's like a biological representation of who gave birth to the child, but caregiver? Well, anyone can be a caregiver. Yeah. Like, sickens me. Partner. I would never call my girlfriend my partner. It sickens me. From whenever it came in, it sickened me. In the 90s, that's when all this stuff started to get a little more... And I'm like, what? Everyone's like, this is my partner. Are you a fucking cop?
My life partner.
Like, it's not even sexy. Like girlfriend. I like the word girl. It's feminine. I like femininity. I like feminine women. I like them a bit fucking, can keep up with the lads on it.
Sounds like you hate women, Steve.
Oh, yeah. So I want a girlfriend. I don't want a partner.
Partners.
I just want to go, I really can't wait to, What? Me and Neil were talking about the other day. It was so unsexy. What was it? Just go. If you're talking to like, just eating your girlfriend out or something. Just like, how's that, partner? so revolting. Yeah, I love to make love with my partner. like you can have a dog as a partner. But they create La La Land. It's like, I watched some young girl get interviewed at a university, and some bloke walks on and goes, so this identifying as whatever you want to identify as. And he goes to her, so what if I decide to, it's like he's a 6'2" white guy. And he goes, so what if I identify as a 5'8", 67-year-old Chinese woman? Right? And she goes, well, as long as you're not hurting anybody, I don't see why. Right? And it's like, no, sweetheart. You've mistaken having an open mind with insanity, right? Right? Like this is a 6'2" white guy called Brian. He can't be a 67-year-old Chinese woman named Qing Mao. Right? It's not. He's not. He can at home, if he wants to lay on his bed and fantasize about it, you do it. Go for your life, right? Right. But to stand in front of the general public and go, right, from now on, I'm a 67-year-old Chinese woman, and you will call me Miss Qing.
I demand my Chinese citizenship. It's my right.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Rock into China and demand a passport. It's like these people how they've, they just made that every, and I understand it's their humanity used against them. So you bring some immigrants come to a place like Australia, and everyone's like, well, there's money, it could come as you want, and they should have the same, and they do have the same rights because they live under the same laws. It's not like they may have a tougher time at certain things. You're going to live in different places. It's tougher times, But it's almost like, well, they should have the same thing as everybody else. It's like, but what about all your forebears that built this? Because what did these people do here? Nothing. He's from the northern tip of Africa. His forebears didn't build these roads to Queensland, or these buildings, or these bridges, or this plumbing, or this thing, and they built this thing that you were supposed to then preserve and protect and be grateful for and hold in honour so that you could have it for your kids and stuff. So why has he suddenly got the same rights? Because if I went to China or Japan, I wouldn't even feel that it was in my right to demand that I should have the same as all the Japanese people. Well, what did my Anglo-Saxon parents do to build Tokyo or fucking nothing?
Yeah. I made a Facebook post about that once to see the kind of reactions it might net. So I said, look, I spent 21 years in this Asian country. I speak that language. I still speak that language when I talk to my sister. I ate their food. I know their games. I know the culture. I know it in and out. Therefore, I am Filipino. Can I say that? I'm just like, is that how it works now?
Not for white people. No, not for white people.
Our citizenship is the one that's for sale. Ours is the one you can identify as. It's a thing. If you like football and you like barbecue, you're an Australian. You're just as Australian. Yeah. Meanwhile,
even though it's funny that there's little brainwashed white Australians claiming these things, but all the African and Indian people there would be going, no, I'm not.
Well, that was interesting. I had some, particularly far leftists come on and say, yeah, for all intents and purposes, you are Filipino. And I just thought, how fucking insulting is that to the Filipino people? Their history, what they've been through, and I can just bounce in and say, I like your food and I speak the language. I'm one of you. I'm exactly the same as you. Accept it.
Do you know when I would claim to be Filipino? If I'd lived there for 25 years and I'd got on so well, I'd done so much stuff there, that somehow a bunch of Filipino people invited me to perhaps, well, you're never going to have slanty eyes and, like rice as much as us, but we've invited you, Steve, to feel like one of us. Right? Then that would be an honour. Yeah. An honour. That you would accept with grace.
Yeah.
And
yeah, exactly. That's how it is. It did work.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
but even underneath that, they still know you're not Filipino.
Exactly. That's the thing. They still won't let you buy. They won't let you buy land or houses there. You can't buy property in the Philippines, even if they've said you are an honorary Filipino.
That's smart stuff.
Yep.
Don't sell your fucking country away to fucking foreigners or multinationals. But, leftism and progressivism breaks down the idea of self-preservation. Because it makes the idea of defending anything. But what are you defending? Well, colonialism and capitalism and patriarchy and... See?
Well, selling tolerance virtue does that, doesn't it? Because tolerance never means anything good. No one says, I have a high tolerance for vitamins. I have a high tolerance for vegetables. It's always something that's ultimately not good for you. So tolerance
is a shit word.
But it's sold as a virtue.
Oh, it's sold as a virtue.
The implication is that it's not good for you. It's killing you. And you just can handle more of what's killing you. It's just...
Oh, yeah. But I just tolerate it. This guy kept kicking me in the head. But, I mean, exactly what do drug addicts or alcoholics always say? I built up a high tolerance. Which means what? Well, I'm fucked.
If I stop now, I'm gonna drop dead. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy fucking times. But I remember once in my early 20s, I thought to myself, mate, if you don't have anything to die for, well, I used to think, what's the point in being here? Maybe that was spurred on by being in Australia where there was just nothing to fucking do that I really wanted to do. I mean, Australia's a wonderful place. The outdoors is glorious. You don't get that in England like you get in Australia. It's a glorious country. You can go rainforests or grasslands or swamps or beaches, which I took for granted, until I went around the world and saw other people's beaches. I thought all beaches were white sand and rock pools and 90 miles long, right? They're not. Some of them are grey and tepid and shit with no waves. Yeah. Right? Those beaches are just glorious. I've sat in rock pools, around, Queensland or somewhere in the northern New South Wales. Remember we used to be in bands and touring Australia a lot. You'd have drives in between gigs and stuff. And sometimes we had this beach one day. It was just no one on it. Went for just miles. See, those rock pools where the water's so fucking clear. It's almost out of this world. You're like, God, it's like a magical thing. So I just thought that's what beaches were. Not knowing that even when I went to some places in Mexico, that it's shit.
Yeah, there's some beaches in the Philippines with black sand and plastic bags swimming alongside you.
Just no waves. Like the waves are just. Right. It's not some guy, some Aussie bloke on a surfboard, some fucking tube that's fucking 90 feet high. Well,
it's usually some kid paddling through it, collecting bottles instead.
So in that sense, I mean, I always, Australia's glorious for that, but as a country, it was always boring for me because I wanted to do art and stuff. But as I was thinking the other day when we were talking about these Scandinavians having this ancient music which they're starting to reconnect with. And how we were talking about, whereas Australia doesn't really have a collective to fall back into, like a there's no songs or poetry or ancient memories that hold us together, But I also used to thought, okay, well, what could that do? Well, that could actually give you the opportunity of not being entangled with some traditions, because ultimately, if you go into the quantum no time, if you can really evolve into the true self, then a lot of those things will fall away anyway. So in one sense, maybe you've been given this gift. Why? Because you're sitting on the land with some of the most ancient people in the universe. So you've got an opportunity here. Maybe you've been blessed with not having all these traditions and that in your psyche. Right? You could transform quicker. Because there's nothing to hold on to. There's no collective fish hook to drag you back. But they have to wake up. And how will they wake up to that? Well, they have to heal that wound that they've got with their motherland and with the Aboriginals themselves. And then maybe because as we were just saying, the country's paradise. Like as land, stunning. Australia is a country where you can go on an adventure in. I've never been in the middle. But it's stunning. Yeah. Deserts and fucking sunsets that look like cosmic fucking rainbows of purple and magenta and orange, and a blazing sun underneath a rock that turns colours every fucking 10 minutes. And you can't really do that in Europe, a lot of places. Because, there's people 50 miles down the road, I met a German guy at a hippie festival once in Australia, and he'd lived out there for ages. And I went, so why did you come here from Germany? And he just went, Oh, I know, yeah, because I know what you mean. This, mate.
Yeah.
The fucking space, you know, half the forests in Germany are all straight trees because they're replanted, you know. Nature doesn't grow trees like this. You know, and you can't wander off into some forest in Europe without... So Australia is a country you can still wander off into and die. Like no one's going to find you. Like, so, you know, and we know the beaches, you can go to rainforests, you can go to... You've got everything. You've got tropical rainforests. With fucking birds and parrots and weird animals, and you can go to the deserts, proper deserts. There's no deserts in Europe. And deserts are profound places. You know, people think, what's happening in there? A lot. A lot of silence. Very good for you. And if you're wise enough, like Aboriginals, you can see what's going on in there. And even anything, even in the dirt, stuff's going on. You know, it's not as busy as a rainforest with monkeys and all this running around, but it's another side of it's probably a representation even of the psyche. Well, look, here's the quiet part. Here's where you can actually talk to God.
Biblical stories go, isn't it? They always go off into the desert.
They all go to the desert, right? Yeah. They don't go to the rainforest. Oh, there was monkeys.
They go to the beach.
That's, in the rainforest, you had to have those shaman guys. Well, we're going to block out the monkeys. Here, eat these plants, right? Block out the monkeys.
No,
Whereas the desert,
the monkey.
Yeah, now I am the fucking monkey. You know, that's one of my... I don't really have regrets. I could. I'd have bags of them. Right? If I decided to employ regret into my psyche, I'd have wheelbarrows. Like, get the other one! but it's a big... What is a disappointment that I've never really gone out there. Should have gone out there. I've done a lot of travelling, so I was in bands, so I've driven around a lot of Australia, and but I haven't been out there.
You'd miss a lot of the countries touring anyway, as it is, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I've been to Darwin and that, but I've never, like... And I've been out there, not go out there with a bunch of people in fucking baseball caps to take a photo and crawl all over that rock against Aboriginals' wishes, right? I'm like... You know, just... Could you not climb on that, please? Fuck off. Oh, see, no, just...
Was it Pauline Hanson who got stuck on it? Had to get rescued off it.
Like, and now you've hammered like poles into it. I'm like, don't. Maybe these Aboriginals don't. No. It's not for climbing on. Why? It has another role. It has a role. It's not just a big dumb rock. See, the Aboriginals know everything's got spirit and consciousness and is alive. I bet. This is my speculation on the way that Aboriginals would, because I wouldn't understand their deep cosmology. But I can speculate. They know. Because I know. My soul knows. I grew up in the Blue Mountains. And whenever I was in the bush, it's beautiful. And then you'd go camping and we'd run around and then I'd see someone had spray painted in a sandstone cave, Robbo was here. And I just used to... Which part of you? Because I could look at the sandstone I was just mesmerised, you know, it would weave and change colours and it's like a work of art, you know, and like, what part of you went, yeah.
I was here.
I've got some spray paint.
In a way, you
And then
can see it as some subconscious attempt to leave a mark on the world because they know they never will.
it's something I've never. I need to speak to some kind of professional about what makes you do that. I don't know what makes you. I mean, if you make a beautiful mural on the side of a building, it's different. But it's like when I went back to Australia in 2006, and that's when that kind of, because I lived over here for 10 years or something then. And those young people started tagging things.
Oh, yeah.
And then I would get on the train at Central in Sydney to go up to the Blue Mountains or out to Blacktown to see my mates or something. And I would see it on everything. Like the same dumb initial of something just on every box in the railway, every brick wall, like, who is this fucking... I was almost like, can you set guards up at night near these places so as soon as one of these fucking troglodytes appears, you can just take them out? Because it's the most uncreative, narcissistic, vapid... It's just like, join a band. Do something, you fucking useless prick.
Actually create something.
Yeah, like, well, I'm going to go out tonight, just go... Hell, I did that 90 times. It's fucking cool, eh? You're a fucking idiot. So... It's like, yeah, I used to go, you go in the bush or something and you'd see people had left nappies and Coke cans. I'm like, which part of you could look at that and not go, that's fucking offensive.
Yeah.
I'll take it back. People just throw bags of McDonald's out the window of the car. I understand sometimes if you're a teenager and you're a bit of a dickhead. I wasn't perfect. I've run around with fucking blokes and thrown fucking twist tops out of cars like dickheads, smashing bottles and fucking... But I never, I could never write, Steve-O was here on a sandstone cave. I'm like... Because that cave's now going, well, I really wish you fucking wasn't. Why couldn't Steve-O stay at home? Because they don't even think. Does the rock go that the chemicals and the paint? One day will work out. Yeah, the rock goes. Oh, you're a big hippie now, Steve. It's not about that. It's not about being a hippie. This is way beyond hippiedom. Hippiedoms are just another manifestation of what a part of you. Like Nazis. Which is funny because most people seem to hate Nazis, but they seem to have far more allegiance to them. And they mock hippies more. Oh yeah, lock us up. Put your mask on. Fucking hippies. Hilarious. No more fascists. No.
This video of a girl, I saw her with her mask on lecturing some black policeman. Where he says, this is a white person's problem. We have to fix this.
These people need therapy 101. They need to be taken. They need to be taken into healing circles of great shamanic wizards and women, great men and women of the shaman traditions and the deep traditions, and put into circles and watch the fucking feminism. It's coming out. It's coming out.
Well, that's interesting because my husband pointed it out in the peak of these riots, that were happening. And he said, why is it all women? And they're so fucking angry. They're all out in the streets trying to get justice and change the world. I'm like, why? Because you sterilize your womb so that squirt boys can fucking have a wank with your body and then say you're empowered. No wonder you're angry.
Yeah, and also because for as much as you're screaming about the patriarchy, you keep falling into masculine roles. Stop falling into, because why? Because you've denounced your own femininity by thinking that anything feminine is viewed upon as weak. No, it's not. All men know women have a power, even if it's just a one of what? Who they get to have sex with.
Women are the gatekeepers of sex.
The gatekeepers of sex, you know. And if I'd understood women a bit more throughout my life, I probably could have got more sex. But I didn't, you know, because I could get friend zoned, because like a lot of guys, we also get brought up to go, what? Well, don't offend women. You know, I mean, here's the funny thing. Feminists think that you know, they, or rightly so, that they hate wife beaters. Yeah, but men hate wife beaters too. Why? Because what kind of guy punches chicks?
Yeah, but what's the thing they say? Well, men, be better. Be better, men.
Like, all decent men grow up just with an unspoken sort of thing that we don't punch chicks. Because not only are they weaker physically, but your other mates are going, mate, how fucking gay are you? Punching chicks.
They turn it into something fundamentally
wrong. Of course, they come back and go, Now, of course, you know, Ronda Rousey could kick me into next fucking Monday. But that's a trained athlete, right? I'm talking about the general femininity of women. You don't, with your masculine testosteronic energy, you don't go up and fucking king hit it. It's offensive and just downright fucking unhonourable, unmasculine.
Once
psychotic.
Again, it's a spiritual failure of the individual and probably their parents' failure. That's the thing. No, it's men. It's masculinity itself. It's not that the man didn't have a dad around or anything like this.
No, it's got nothing to do with it. And here's the great irony, you know, is that my birth mother got rid of me at 4 years old. I don't believe even wanted children, so I probably got wounds that go back into the womb. I then went with a stepmother who was abusive as fuck for 10 years, with a father who didn't have a masculine bone in his body enough to then protect his own children from this fucking bitch, right? So I should be a fucking misogynist, right? But I'm not, and never was, right? Because what? Was it all women that did this to me and my brother? No. It's pretty easy for me, some things. Do you hate women? No. I hung around women a lot. I didn't understand them, so, you know, they probably friend zoned me better, more than I wanted, right? But I get on with women. Most of the artists I listen to are women. Most of the music I listen to is all women singing. Probably because I'm masculine and I like that sound. I like femininity. You know, I like... love it. And like... Because they can take you to angelic realms, you know. Whereas my ex-girlfriend, this Polish girl, like, she didn't really like listening to women singers. Because she liked that masculinity. And she liked deep voices on God, and she'd hear these singers and you know, it would stir something, you know. I like that, you know. Whereas I love to hear these women, because I fucking, it's like angelic, you know. And so, because all these, I do like jokes. You know, it's like, guy, he must hate women. Such simple, childish. Deduction of logic. I can't even take it seriously. I don't take it seriously. I guess the thing is, the reason I can keep doing my comedy is because it's probably because I've been self-obsessed my whole life. And coming from death metal, the underground death metal, to me, whenever you did art, I don't like using that word particularly all the time, but for a description, I don't know if comedy is particularly an art, but I would consider painting and music and stuff art. But coming from sort of underground heavy metal and death metal and thrash and stuff, it just never crossed my mind that you didn't do what you want. You just express yourself the way you wanted to express yourself. Which was the great thing about coming from the underground death metal scene, because that's exactly what you did. That's why it was so freeing when we first got into it, because it was like, even though it became a prison eventually, because all subcultures become a prison to the artist, right? Unless they want to stay in that subculture, you know. But that was so freeing about it. Well, what's your record called? Well, you could even be as radical as, well, it's called Satanic Sluts. What are your songs? Oh, you know, fucking Descending into Hell, fucking Hell Awaits, fucking Raping the Virgin. You could just, and people, yeah, I'll put it out. We just put it out. Yeah. You'll get to stand there in bullet belts in graveyards with blood coming to skulls and goat skulls. No, it's the same shit. Right? So you just do whatever you want. Right? Fucking fantastic. Right? So when I got into comedy, I just kind of had that in my head. So people used to go, how do you get up and say these things? Well, I don't think about it. I just say what I want to say. And I just do jokes the way I want to do jokes. Isn't that how you're supposed to do it? That's the way I always do it. I thought that's how you're supposed to do it. That makes it real, isn't it? You know? Dave Gilmour from Pink Floyd's not writing a 15-minute song with a 12-minute lead break so he can have a hit single. He's doing it because it comes from his fucking heart, mate, and he has to, you know. That's why, you know, even with categories, I mean, I understand categories to a degree. They give you maps of things. You know, that's all they are, maps, you know. But see, to me, Kate Bush and Enya is the same as Slayer. Because it's just people doing what they want to do. It's the same thing. Like you know, Enya just does what she fucking does. She just comes out and here's my record.
She's been doing it for 30 years too, hasn't she?
Yeah. And then Kate Bush turns up every 8 years. Here's the record. Goes back to fucking her house. He's not in there going, oh, some record company guy, how can we make this a hit single, Kate? What? They don't even talk to her for 8 years. Then she appears. Yeah, here's one. Bye. Vanishes again. Slayer, it's the same thing. Here's our record. What's it about? Violence. You know, chaos. I've got spikes. I never take my sunnies off. It's the same thing. You know, different expressions, different emotional responses to the art created, but fundamentally, to me, it's no. Peter Gabriel, same thing. Supertramp, Simple Minds, Police, Cannibal Corpse, Sodom. It's all the same thing. Creator, what? Well, guys and women who are doing what they want. That's the only music I can ever get into. People who do real shit. I like the odd pop hit song because they're ear candy. Yeah. You know, you grew up and it's radio, whatever, you know, you hear some stuff, you can sing along. So the worst thing about some of this modern day pop is I actually think it must be like occultic spells because it's almost like cocaine for the ears, some of it. It's so vapid and horrible, yet like that, what's her name? That blonde girl, Kenya or something. She was one of these pop things, and she had I mean, her songs are just vapid, repulsive, bad for the family, bad for kids, bad, and yet I can hear some of them go, I quite like that.
Yeah. They've dumped it down further than they ever have. It's 2 chords, if even that, most of the time now. A bass note.
Because I'm watching these young fellas. There's another thing, you know. I'm watching a lot of black people on these reaction videos, listening to Rush, the whitest band in the world, right? Prog rock, you know, and a male band. You know, like it's not cool. They're not cool.
No, they're not.
Right? They're not great looking guys. But here's the thing: they are cool. They're cool as shit. They're one of the most honourable, dignified, wonderful fucking bands, stuck to their guns, respect their bandmates, same 3 members, If one of them left, they'd quit. They'd stop. They're honourable.
Yeah, honourable is not cool these days, though. That's not cool.
They don't bitch about other bands. They don't bitch about other people. They hold all their cards to their chest about anything. They're just good guys. They're smart. They write music from their heart. If the song goes for 12 minutes, it goes for 12 minutes. And I forgot what I was going to say. So I hope your listeners can deal with it.
You're talking about you're watching these reacting videos, watching these black guys react to
Yeah. Right. So a band like Rush, which is always, and it's very masculine band in the sense of not many women get into it because it's not.
It was like
because they write they write songs about philosophy and science fiction, and they've got 12-minute songs, and blokes like watching other men play. It's not like women aren't. What do you think? Women can't be musicians, Steve? I just told you. Well, most of the fucking ones I listen to are fucking women, right? It's right. It's the general public's. I've been to a Rush gig. I've never seen a longer queue for the men's toilet at the interval. No, none at the women.
Yeah.
There was 90 blokes here waiting to take a piss. There was the chick's study was empty. Right. Right. But it's wonderful. I'm watching these and I used to think as sort of some heavy metal because I knew black people are active people. Right? They're got a lot of energy about them. Like American black people. I've met a lot of them. I like them. They can be. They laugh from their fucking gut. They get into stuff. And I can never quite understand. I don't know why they wouldn't like rock, especially because a lot of early rock is from black guys, Hendrix and fucking Bo Diddley and these, a lot of people would say rock and roll comes from black folk, right? And Hendrix who's like the guitar god to all white guys, right? And I used to think, well, why don't black people get into this music? They're kind of energetic people, and now you're watching them watch it. Who they finally get to watch it, and they're all like. I'm watching so many black people get into Rush and AC/DC.
That's the thing with this black culture that they think is currently black culture. They seem to fail to understand that it's been dreamt up by executives sitting in a building in Hollywood.
Yeah, and we've all been
with a cigar. This is what they're gonna get into.
Yeah. Yeah. This is what white people like, and this is what black people like, and white people have no rhythm, and blah, 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 blah. And if you go down to the southern states of America, they all hate blacks and they'll hang you. Because if I said to someone, really, if you think of someone from the southern states, they go, you're a squeal like a pig, boy. But they never think of all the, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, of course, ma'am. We're going to church. Right, they're the most nicest American people in the whole fucking country. Yeah, there's some good old boys who, you don't want to be a black fella around. I know. Not an idiot, but the whole place is not like that. And the funny thing is the southern states, they're the people who've been living with black people for 400 years.
Yeah.
Not the northern states. They had that war to apparently free slaves, and then they all moved up north, and then the northerners went, oh, fuck.
Right? Turning them into voters. That's what that was. We're going to set you free.
More than likely.
And you get to vote.
I mean, these things are all, so much. But yeah, as I said, no, I didn't say, but I've reached that point now. I'm not for telling anyone anything anymore. Right? Like, I'll share my opinions, but it's not like, hey, I've got a method. Find your own method. People say to me, well, prove it to me, Steve. Okay, find it out yourself. I wrote this line one day and people go, when people go, okay, change my mind. Right? I go, Jesus, you can't do anything for yourself, can you?
Give me a video. They just need it spoon-fed all the time. Spoon-feed me.
Like, mate, I found out all this information without an internet. How? Read books, mate. Found books. Looked for them specifically. Right, where's that section where I'm likely to find books on esotericism and shamanism and psychology and UFOs and religion and conspiracies? Is there a bookshop in London? Yes. massive. Watkins, 3 stories of fucking every kind of spiritual conspiracy thing you can want. So I'd go there. Oh, right, okay. Sections on everything. You want Hinduism, you want shamanism, you want cosmic Christianity, you want Islam, you want New Age, you want self-help, you want non-duality, you want UFOs, you want conspiracy, you want... Well, this fucking bookshop's got everything. So yeah, that's what you do. And people go, well, you prove this to me, Steve. No, you prove it to you. Get off your ass. If you can't notice that there's stuff going on around you, mate, I can't help you. If it's got to this point and you still can't fucking wake up.
Well, it literally takes no effort now. Watch a bunch of videos even, if that gets started. That's all they literally have to do these days, really.
Well, it's like, Greta Thunberg's a big thing, and then she goes away for 2 weeks, and now it's not. Everything's a soundbite.
Same with the riots. Did they happen?
Same with the riots.
Did they happen?
Next minute, we're on a crusade to save black Americans, and then by Thursday it was gone. Yeah. It's like soundbite central. It's just hilarious. And people don't know what they think, because I put things up. Well, I used to on Facebook. I've just gone off it, right? So I put things up, and then I see people who like it. But then I see some of the people who liked it, and I'd see their posts, and I go, you're completely opposite to me. Why would you like my post?
I've seen that a lot on your posts. You'll say something, and I get where you're coming from. And I see a comment, yeah, Trump, man. And I'm just like, how did you get that from what he's saying?
Sometimes I put stuff up there with just one line and a photo. It's kind of got a bit of humour to it, but a sarcastic sort of maybe a jab at something. And then and people come back with not a vicious comment or anything, but I realise you don't even get it. Great song! No, you don't get it. Like, yeah. I know Crime of the Century by Supertramp's a great song, but that's not why I put it up.
Yeah,
In fact, it's a fantastic song, mate. Stunning, right? But and it is a great song. I agree with you. Did you get the other bit? I don't know. One of my mates ever wrote to me, Steve, I don't think some of these people get your posts.
You don't say.
Yeah. So, but that's why. Yeah, that's where I'm at now. I just like you find out. I did this stuff for 25 years. Why should I just spill the beans for you? As they say in the Bible, don't throw pearls before swine. That's what it means now. I know what that means now.
Yeah. You see these bickering threads online. I'm just like, no one's convincing anyone. No one's getting through to anyone. All you're doing is getting angry and angry and angrier.
And what's so funny is they don't even realise, excuse me, this is a comment section, not conversation section. Comment. One day I put something up, and I never comment on posts of people I don't know. Who am I? To Rocky, I mean, the odd person I don't know, if it was like, yeah, cool, a song or something. I'm not getting involved in a heated discussion with someone I don't know. I'm not charging into their life.
You're wrong.
You fucking idiot. Yeah.
You've never met.
Yeah. I mean, would I do that in real life?
Comment section.
Just charge over to someone's dinner table at a restaurant. Hey!
Butt into their conversation.
Yeah, I was listening to you, bunch of
I
dickheads.
don't like that. That gives me angry feelings. Take my angry react.
Oh, it's like that squirt boy. I can't stop calling him that now. Yeah.
Should we bleep the name out?
I used to ignore those two spastics for so long, and then when he just came on and goes, that's what... I put a picture of RoboCop up and just wrote, I'd be careful what you wish for, right? When they're having Black Lives Matter. Because here's another thing. Oh, you don't like racist cops? I'll give you robots.
Yep. Defund the police. Now you got a robot that'll never stop.
There you go, right? So I put this up. He comes on and goes, that's not what's happening, you muppet. He goes, if the Australian government would spend more money on science and technology, perhaps we could move it. I'm like, you don't even one of my mates just came on with a comment to this guy and went, I don't think you understand what this is about.
Yeah, I saw that.
and like, mate, I would have been less fucking insulted because then they all come back at me. I know how people come back, oh, you offended, Steve. No, I'm insulted.
Use your own jokes against you. It's such
but see, no, there's a difference. There's a difference between being offended and being insulted. Because you choose to be offended. Right, but if someone has a premeditative idea to insult you, that's a premeditated attack.
It's an intent
with a desired outcome. Right, and so that fucking prick thinks that he can just call me a muppet. I'll fucking put a bat across your face, mate.
Sounds like toxic masculinity, Steve.
Oh, that's what he comes back with. I said, excuse me, do I know you? I don't fucking know you, you fucking piece of shit.
I met you once after one show.
Well, you know, I had the perfect comeback for that, but I realised, you know what, I'm just going to cut it. What I was going to write was actually going, oh, so you have met me, but you didn't have the balls or the courage to come up and be so absolutely patronising and insulting to my face. Well, this conversation ends here, doesn't it? Because there's nothing really to say to someone who has just admitted in public of what a coward they are. So why don't you go and fuck yourself, right? But then I realised, you know what? I'm not even going there. It's perfect. But I'm not giving you any more energy because you know what you're doing? You're harvesting energy. That's what he is. He's an energy vampire, right? And the only part of me that wants to get the one-upmanship on him is my ego. Right? So I resisted and just cut him off. And then as soon as I cut him off, bang, it was like as I said, like a psychic tumour went. Right? But that, and that other dickhead, whatever his name is, and he comes on and just goes like, I imagine being insulted by something like that. It's just the internet. It's not real. What does that even mean, man? Well, why don't you just come on here and say what a bunch of assholes all black people are and how they should be rounded up, and we'll see how real it gets for you. How about I just come on and go, how's your whore mother? But don't worry about it, mate. It's not real. It's just the internet.
It's just some words on a screen, mate. You mad, bro?
It's not real life, bro. How's that festered worm in your whore mother doing? Oh, right. Well, see, if I said that to you, sir, you should rightly punch me in the face. So, what's this? It's not real.
Well, that's the thing. It's real when it works that way. It only goes one way, right?
Yeah.
Once you start speaking up about something, or I started speaking up, you know, how enemy number one and all that crap. The response for that, when I would talk about it, was, oh, this is news now. I'm like, your community is one to talk. This is news now. Okay. Why is this news? Why is this important? Why are you talking? I'm just like, right.
There's another thing which, you know, some of these solutions are very simple and things like, I was saying on stage like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, you know, if you just all throw out your TVs, right, there's very simple actions, which are simple in their, the ability of the action, but of course to get 70 million people in the United Kingdom to throw out their TVs is profound.
Their TV license. I can't believe that.
So the thing is, I always thought like this: if you all, I could just turn them off, right? Because if you all turn them off, and there's then the news spewing this stuff at you, who are they talking to? It's going nowhere.
Well, that's what they showed you in that They Live movie. What did they go for at the end? They blew up the satellite dish. They went for the media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and also, and I thought to myself, you know, if you got people who are still going to work every day, and then for a month, I'd love to get it like a whole community for a month, and instead of at night, you watch TV and that you come home and everyone's got a fire in the backyard, right? And you sat around the fire. I reckon in a month, half of them would just go, oh, I didn't even know it was in me.
Yeah.
yeah, right. Because we've all got it in us. It's all in us, like this thing, right? And then I reckon just, a month of just sitting around a fire. You had to talk with your family. You roasted some marshmallows, or you just sat on a rock and stared at the fire. After a month, you'd actually go, oh, fuck.
The old cigars and brandy, the men retire to the smoking room and talk. Yeah. That's been taken away. Now you have bitchy little squirt boys just barring into your conversation. Oh, this is, you're a stupid idiot. They don't know those guys to men anymore. Men can't talk to men anymore either, let alone the other.
No respect. But if I didn't know Phil sitting there and just was in a pub and heard him talk and walked up and went, "You fucking muppet," I would expect a punch in the face. Right?
Yeah.
That's right. Or at least excuse me, cunt. Don't they understand this? Right? There's
even the concept of laugh reacting things, right? You imagine that in person. You say something and they stand there. Like, what? Oh.
That's what my friend Sean, who's a kind of a Canadian comic, he's a white guy, and he goes, we've got this comedian here who's just the most brainwashed fucking son of a bitch. It's beyond comprehension. He'll actually be a guinea pig for a vaccine, he said. Oh. Right. But if Sean said the same thing, my friend, he goes, I've known this guy for years, and I'll say something, and then he just comes up with, 20 pissing themselves laughing emojis. He goes, I just had to confront him one day. Would you fucking do that to my fucking face? He goes, next time we're in London, why don't you just come up and do that? Oh, you're getting threatening yet? Yeah, I am. So I'm getting to a point. Yeah, I am. Come and say it to me face, mate. And I'm not even a good fighter. So, but I know the rules. You don't just wander up to men and fucking insult them. We all knew what happened in the past. It's just, you don't walk up to anyone. You don't walk up to women and insult them. You don't walk up to people and fucking insult them.
Or put your thumbs down at them.
I don't like your guitar riff.
Yeah. Oh, I like what we were talking about yesterday. If this goes out, it's interesting for that thing. I looked at the photo you sent.
Our dog died.
Yes.
32 dislikes. What? It's not a dislike saying we don't like that your dog died. It's like we don't like your video talking about your dog.
I mean, maybe they're pranksters. Maybe they think I'll just be a dickhead. Who knows? Maybe I'm a toss an insult from a car kind of think.
It's that energy bait, isn't it? We'll put this out there.
Yeah, but as I said, I'm sure if people are listening to this, then they know, like what we were talking about yesterday, that pretty girl, young girl playing that Sting song on drums by Vinnie Colaiuta, which is so fucking hard. And then 26 dislikes. How have you disliked this? He's a hot chick playing a hard as shit song on drums. Oh. God, what a shit day.
Bitches, that's what that is.
But I guess the good part of humanity is that there's fucking, 6,000 likes, and then you scroll down and there's tons of blokes going, please go out with me so you can teach me how to play this song. I've been trying for 5 years. Here's the funny thing about, do men like music more than women? No, not much music, like it doesn't affect women, but men get into the structure of creating music, the group and a creative thing. You know, it's like I watch to a girlfriend boyfriend thing on a reaction video, and they say they're watching Rush, and you can see the guy far more enthralled with the playing, like almost like, oh, I wish I could do that, like, and then if I look, say, Kate Bush on YouTube or something, and then I'll go down the comments, it's all men, not going, oh God, I want to fuck Kate Bush. No, it's all men going like, mate, when she took over her production values by herself on the third album, it was like, that's what. That's when the true genius really came out, and you know. Yeah, Stuart Elliott, my favourite drummer ever, very underrated. No one really notices about this guy. Like this stuff moves me to beyond. This is the woman that takes me into the fucking nowhere zone of fucking like. Yeah. Yeah. The production values on Hounds of Love when I went into that. You know. And then there's the odd girl going, my mum showed me this, it's great. I've fucking been into Kate Bush since I was fucking young. But you can't even talk like that anymore. What are you saying that women don't do? How would I say women don't do music? What are you talking about? I've seen them. Hundreds of them, thousands of them, everywhere, doing it. So what are you talking about? You go, well, Steve Hughes thinks that ladies can't play fucking music the same as men, and oh Jesus Christ! It's like being in a kindergarten, isn't it? It's like trying to get a conversation with these modern people. It's like we're at a 10-year-old's birthday party. Someone's going to start crying. You know,
stunted adults, aren't they? Because of all that childhood trauma they've never fucking faced up to.
Well, here's the other thing. Okay, if the ruling elite like to traffic children and sacrifice children, well, guess what? If you don't grow up and that inner child's still in you, guess what? They're still sacrificing children.
Yeah.
Why? Because you haven't grown up. I mean, they don't like you as much because it's a traumatized child. They like the fresh ones, but still. So I mean, and so that's why as I know you and Phil can get frustrated with these people too, and like we were talking yesterday, I think you've got to walk through the gate of giving up. It's a freeing place.
I went through that, not too far back either. After all this stuff happened,
I think a lot of I've spoken to a few people recently. One of my mates in Sydney, he was like, "Yeah, I've kind of I already know what you're going to say, mate."
It's the point where it's so obvious that I kind of assumed I could talk to people and they'd see it. Just concede. Just make a concession. You know, you're right. They are telling us that only 200 people had died. That doesn't justify martial fucking law. I'm just like, nope. Oh, but someone might catch it, though. Alright, I'm not talking to you anymore. Because you're here, and I've gone here, and you can't meet. They live in a different plane of spiritual understanding.
And there's, I got a friend in Arizona. He just moved there from LA. He's a deep, he's committed. He's written tons of, he'd have books. He's been in Brazil or wherever, trawling on boats with shamans, and he's done the work.
Yeah.
But as he says, right, like, just don't feel any guilt about disconnecting from all these people, because it's just important to make sure that it's almost like as I said, when I cut the Squirt Boys off, it was actually like I cut a tendril. Like I could almost got it, because it was bugging me.
Yeah.
Just the patronising, fucking,
and it has
passive aggressive.
Well, because you have that sense. If I post something later on, you've got that sense of foreboding almost. This is gonna bait the Squirt Boys, and I'm gonna have to deal with that shit on my wall. It sets you up
Exactly.
for the future of it.
Exactly. So I realised, of course, bang, bang, and I literally, it was...
Yeah, just go back and watch your
And that's
fucking
when...
porn, you know. Stick to that.
And once I did... As soon as I did those two, that's when I started dumping anyone
Yeah.
who... What? Can't you handle people that don't agree with you, Steve? That's not the point.
It's people who don't know how to express disagreement that you can't handle.
Right. And it's also believe me, we've reached this is not 5 years ago. This is now.
It's crucial now.
So I'm not having any energetic tendril connected to someone who wants to exist in the AI dark world.
Exactly. It's so clear at this point. It's just you made your choice. You can't be near me. You're dangerous to me at this point, you know?
Yeah, you're dangerous to my energy. You're a danger to my psyche. You're a danger to my soul. Even to your family.
Well,
I dumped a guy I've known for 35 years.
Yeah. I've come to bring a sword, and father will turn against the son, and the mother will turn against the daughter, and neighbor will turn against the neighbor. I didn't come to bring peace, but truth is a sword of division. That's what it says. Yeah.
And it does. It divides them, man. And like, yeah, I blocked a guy I've known for 35 years because he just put up something. If you don't wear a mask, you're an arrogant, selfish cunt. And I went,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you just, not to me specifically, but he's put that up.
That sentiment,
right?
Yeah.
Well, a selfish, thoughtless cunt or something. I went, so you just called me a thoughtless, selfish cunt. Okay, bye. Another of my friends, he puts things up. He's a lovely guy. I haven't dumped him, and I won't. He hasn't put anything serious up. He still makes jokes about it, but puts things up which I would completely disagree with. And one day I said, so I guess that is what you think of me now. I guess, no, I never think of that. He said, no, but that's what you said.
Yeah.
By putting that post up.
Yeah.
Because I don't agree with any of this. So yeah, I don't find it any problem now to just... Or if someone sends me a friend request and I go straight to I sometimes used to just go, I got 300 connections, because I only used it for business. But now I go to the thing, and if I see anything that's got BLM or a mask, I go, no fucking way. You know, if I see a rainbow or... I'll tell you what, my brother's funny, mate.
Things, right? If you see one of
Oh,
these.
yeah. Yeah. If you've shaved, if your hair's
no, you shave the sides, and then you have bangs that are too short.
If you're a girl with hair as long as mine, with one of those,
it means you're
unique,
unique, Steve. You're unique.
And this is dyed a kind of light pink.
Yeah,
then,
blue. Yeah, it means you're not like all the other girls.
See, the girls I grew up with, I knew a lot of girls when I grew up who had mohawks and blue hair and gothic clothes on and fucking thing, but they did it then. They were outcasts.
Yeah.
Right? They were wandering around fucking with us, getting hassled for fucking looking, especially in a country like Australia, which has also been so just textbook cookie cutter. You know, you better not fucking look any different, mutt. Especially in the 70s, you know, it changed, but, you know. And it was, but yeah, all the girls I knew, as I said in my show sometimes, when I grew up, you know, I knew girls with mohawks and blue hair and fucking tartan pants and fucking no bras. But now I see one of them, I'm like, get that fucking thing away from me.
Well, see, like, back then you could look at one, but you wouldn't know what they think. You wouldn't be able to list every ideology and every talking point that they have. Now I'm just like, I can look at you and I can tell you exactly what you're into, what you watch, what you believe, what movements you support. Oh, you're trying to... Bam, 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 bam. Oh, how'd you know?
Because you fucking, you know, it's like these people, it's like, you know what it is? It's these people, they hate Donald Trump the same way as they love Beyonce. Because they've been told. when the US decided and the Great Britain decided to bomb Iraq in 2003, and I went full-blown fucking political in my comedy then, where were all you people? Now you're screaming at Trump. The guy's been impeached after 78 days. What are you talking 70? He couldn't even do anything in 78 days. You know, the whole, and I watch these people, Trump, Trump.
Well, that's the other thing. We gotta vote for the child groper because the pussy grabber might get in. I'm like, what? We gotta do it, guys.
And they hold one thing like that as a guy. I can what are you fucking talking about? Like, ridiculous. Oh, he said if you're famous, you can grab women on the pussy. You can.
He said they let you grab them.
Yeah, and they do.
What's the lie?
And I've never been that famous. But if I was Steve Tyler in the 70s, slim hipped and coked up. G'day, ladies.
They could go beyond so much. They let you. You like consent, right, guys? He says the women let you. By definition, he's talking about consent. If you want to go after him, say the fact that he said he wants to date his daughter is fucking weird and creepy. How about the fact that he cheated on his wife with a porn star while she was pregnant? That's creepy. No, but women let you grab them. He said this. Better get Biden in.
Oh, God, but the thing is, he cheated on his wife with a porn star. Well,
and the Clinton haters.
It'd be much better to have leaders. It'd be much better to have leaders who were real honourable.
The hypocrisy about it, though.
Oh, the hypocrisy's stunning. Like
Trumpers will go on and on about Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, meanwhile excusing Trump for being a legend for banging a porn star. I'm just like, be consistent. Just be consistent.
Well, I just love it the way, there's a bunch of guys I know and they're all putting up this Trump stuff and all that. They go, he's so fucking dumb. I go, what? The guy's never drunk in his life. He's never smoked in his life. He's never taken drugs in his life. Right? Yeah. And he was a billionaire at age. Sure, he got a step up from coming from rich parents and everything, rah, rah, rah. But that's just the reality of it. Yeah. And some of these guys I know. Yeah, but you're just a drummer in a rock band that's got a few records out and you go to work and you've got a pool and somehow you're smarter than Donald Trump. Are you? I know you. I don't think you're that smart.
It's the easy way out. He's dumb.
Yeah, I know.
Just like, have you looked into anything about his empire, how he built it, how he came up? Have you seen how meticulous he is about the smallest details? You don't get that way by being dumb.
Oh, and would he been involved with, organised crime and that? Yeah. Why? Because all organised crime ran New York in the 70s. Everything. Construction, garbage, the fucking fish markets, education.
You mean the Cuomo's dad or some shit?
Oh, it's just like, there's a small 3-part doco about that as well, which they have to mention Trump because he was for. But then when the FBI finally discovered, they didn't realise how vast, which is funny, how vast the conspiracy was. When they suddenly realised they were running around their tails, they're chasing their tails because they didn't know that there was 5 crime bosses that were connected to all the other crime bosses that actually, and then they suddenly realised, God, these guys are running the cement business, the garbage collection, the fashion industry, music. So they went, oh, fuck. Right. And so, Donald Trump was involved in that. Well, you would have to have been. Because, that's what was going on, mate. Yeah. And then Mayor Giuliani, whatever his name is, he got in there and he did a lot of that fucking sorting it out. With the FBI, he just went, right. They started to bring in these laws here because they couldn't convict them before, but suddenly they realised that there was a law that they didn't really know how to utilise, that they could realise if they could prove that they were all connected to crimes, that they could get them all in one go because we could get them through this crime conspiracy law. But they had to find out that they were. Then they suddenly realised, oh my God, look at this fucking web.
Yeah. We take it down, there's nothing left.
And then so, there's the FBI going, we couldn't work out how unbelievable and complex this conspiracy was, and yet you go to tell someone in the street that perhaps there's conspiracies going on in the world. No!
There's 6 corporations controlling all of the media that might have agendas and goals.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Like my brother's a pretty awake guy, and I don't know how much research he's done over the years, and I don't think he's done as much as me, but he's fucking supremely awake guy. He's fucking funny. He's a legend. I love him. He sends me this stuff. He BLM and all this fucking stuff. He's like, that fucking dick. Right? He's like, he sends me this. He goes, the other day, I was looking some stuff up. He sends me a message. He goes, some guy at work goes, Cameron, I think you're looking a little too deep, mate.
What, because he found something?
Hey, my brother goes, you know what I said to him? I go, what? He goes, I said, yeah, it's probably because my parents are English, so I've still got a sort of lot of European, blood in me, and sort of we're a bit deeper than you. He goes, he didn't like that. He's such a smart ass because he works for one of our cousins or something, or one of our nephews. He's pretty high up in it, because he said to me the other day, he goes, mate, if I didn't have this job, he goes, I'd be sacked, because he's just against the whole fucking thing, like all this bullshit and their fucking quotas and their fucking equality bullshit, and it just doesn't fall for any of it. They're all at work. No, Cam, you've been doing it. He goes, thank God I work here, because I'd be fucking sacked. But yeah, man. So getting back to what we were talking about with that's where I've kind of reached the edge. I'll gladly go on podcasts and spout my mouth off about me ideas that aren't all formulated into it. Because I used to think, do I have to have a solution or something? Or can I just, before I could just bitch, because I was trapped in my own ego for years, until I have a fucking breakdown. And then, but now I realise, you just don't. You're better off getting shamanic and bringing the imagination and how you'd like to see the world, or not letting that fear virus get in you. And then, because you could go, you don't believe in the virus. Well, not even that, because I get scared about, what if this digital AI new world order fucking totalitarian nightmare mass cull happens. So that's frightening to me, not some fucking virus. Right. So, but then as we were saying yesterday, but then I go, okay, well, if that triggers fear in me, then I'll go, okay, that must be my fear. Even though there's a valid reason to be fearful of such. But then you have to go, well, guess what? It doesn't have the power of, doesn't have the power of light. Let's use these words. Because it's a false construct. It's not organic. It dwells in false constructs, which is why they create the false person with the birth certificate. It's all false light. It's like a shit band. But your true majesty as a creator, spirit, soul, within the universe is real. So the power. Have you ever seen some of those angels, like you said in the Bible, those big angels you see in graveyards that are actually with swords and that? Yeah. They're the angels I look at. Look at that guy. Look at the power in that fucking guy. He's not fucking around. Yeah, right. And so that power is innate in all of us. And like Buddhists do, where they want to, for a shallow synopsis of the Buddhist philosophy, you know, they kind of want to become these monks or reach enlightenment to drop karma and present day conditioning and traumas, to drop the karma, to become enlightened, apparently, so that when they die, they can what? Well, get off the wheel of reincarnation. Mm-hmm. They would look at it, because you have to come back to samsara, the earth. In dualism, so they want to go, what? Well, if I can shed all the karma and shed all the stuff, then I have a better chance of not having to come back in this monotonous cycle. So now, yeah, I think that's what we do. We understand that the personality. I've started to realize how entrenched we are in the brainwashing through everything, even our personality, where we think it's real, where we think I'm this guy and I've got these problems and these talents and this stuff and this, but that's not the soul.
Even this definition of, for example, a metalhead. I'm a metalhead. They've defined themselves.
Oh, well, that's why in the late 80s, that's what I said before, when thrash was very freeing. But by the late 80s, when I was hitting about 21, I realised that it wasn't freeing. I realised that there was a uniform in here, that there was a how far can we go musically. That's why I know Metallica went, well, we've got to get out of there. Right? Which to me, you can almost tell on Metallica's, because you got what? Well, they kill them all. We all love it, but they bring thrash metal to the fucking foreground. We get Ride the Lightning, a monumental record. Master of Puppets, monumental, right? Just pinnacles in heavy metal history, written by young guys. Added a maturity to heavy metal that people like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden never added. You know, Metallica's the band that could talk about personal things. You know, what metal band really talks about personal stuff, right? You know, if you listen to Jeff Buckley or artists like that, or Kate Bush or Peter Gabriel, they'll be talking about more human, personal, perhaps intimate things, whereas heavy metal's pretty been, some of it's just either Satan or metal or girls or, you know, power or rock and roll and party. But Metallica kind of brought you that, you know, fade to black. They brought in these ideas of but then when they do the Black Album, which takes them into that mainstream. But then the next record comes out. And also, if you understand Metallica's ethos since they began, which I do, because it was so underground, then it was sort of us against the world. Right, so Metallica don't want to make film clips and stuff, because they don't want to be on MTV, because then they're in the world of people like just pop bands and that. So we don't want to go that route, right? Because it's shit in there, right? So we want to be road warriors and fucking metal dog cowboys and fucking play from the heart, and we'll fucking build it up like this, which they did. But then they get to the Black Album, right? And so now they want it now. Or they made a film clip on Justice for All with One, which was a great film clip, very creative. But now they've decided we'll go in that world. Now they put the Black Album out, which is all black, right? Like Back in Black, like AC/DC. And it has the Metallica logo, the old logo, embossed on the side in black as well. Right, so you don't really see it. And there's a small snake on the right-hand corner, which is an American emblem of liberty or something. Don't tread on me. I think that album, like Back in Black for AC/DC, represents like a black armband for the death of Bon Scott. The Black Album, I think, ends Metallica ritualistically showing the death of the old ethos, right? Because the next album that comes out is Load, which has on the cover a brand new logo that looks more like it should be on the bottom of a skateboard. Right? No grandness, no metal, no connection to that metal ethos from underground. It's a connection to the mainstream. And what's on the cover? That art, blood and sperm. Rebirth. Right? They're showing you, right? We're going to rebirth. Here's the Black Album, is the death knell of our connection to the underground. Now there's a rebirth with a new logo with blood and sperm. And also our old ethos, we know creatively that there's a glass ceiling in heavy metal on how much you can express yourself. So our first film clips and the photographs in the booklet for Load, we'll wear eyeliner, scarves, borrow Lenny Kravitz's fucking wardrobe. Right, we'll take off our shirts, we'll be a bit arty and sexy, and we'll steal all the ideas from Achtung Baby from U2. We'll get the same photographer and steal the same concept for the album. But I can see this in what this does now is because that Black Album took them into the consciousness, excuse me, of the mainstream who didn't understand old Metallica. So that new audience also is going to give them the freedom to do whatever they want because they don't understand the old ethos. So when they come out with Load looking like Lenny Kravitz and being all fucking eyelinery and arty and posery and that, the new audience doesn't know any different. That's just Metallica. But the old crowd, that's why they feel disconnected and go, because we know where it's gone. And then later on, and then if you look at Reload, then all the photos are heavy metal. There's no eyeliner, all the photos are flying V's on stage, spread-legged, fucking lights behind you, fucking headbang, sweat, veins, fucking chords. Why? To try and keep that. We've got to keep the old ethos as well. Can we marry these two? Can we alchemize these two things? No. No, you can't. Right? You sort of did, but you really didn't. Right? And then later on, what do? Well, they go off and... I mean, it did give them the opportunity artistically to then... I understand the glass ceiling effect of heavy metal, and it happened to me, as I said, in the late 80s when I realised... That's why I made a band in the 90s called Presto, which was not metal, but it had metal elements, but other elements. Because in the 90s you had... And I wanted to do that. But the 90s kind of spawned that as well. That's why you had Faith No More, Chili Peppers, Soundgarden, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Screaming Trees, Fishbone, you know, Primus, Tori Amos, Nine Inch Nails. It was all everything, which was kind of exciting because there were some great bands come out of that as well. And it did. It was an underground element about it, but it added an eccentricity you didn't really get in heavy metal. But then later on, you watch Metallica because I've been into Metallica since they had a demo, so I've watched the fucking whole thing. So then, and then later on, I watch them. You know, they try and pull back later on with, say, the Death Magnetic tour and stuff. Then James Hetfield is going to come out now. What? Well, in an old patch jacket, right, with Motorhead patches and Maiden and Priest and Tank and Diamond Head and all Witchfinder General. All those old new wave of British heavy metal bands, which I can't deny the man wasn't into. Right, so okay, we've got this thing, but I also, you know, are you still trying to convince those old fans?
Well, the old fans went along with it as well, though, because I remember that time. There was
some old fans.
This, it's gonna try and be like the old stuff, and then they'd always be disappointed. It's like with Star Wars, same thing. They're gonna recapture the old spirit. Nah, it's not coming back, mate.
Nah, you're not going to capture the old spirit, you know. I've never been one. See, I've been quite lucky in my life too, in the sense of I've never been, unless a band makes a cynical change for a market, which you can usually tell. Like Judas Priest did after Defenders of the Faith. right? And I don't think it was so much cynical. It's just they're older guys, so it was kind of, they understood the business of it as well. But there was a definite cynical change from my perspective, because British Steel got them on the radio in 1980. Screaming for Vengeance by 1982 hits around the same time as Number of the Beast, big albums. Got them in America, Screaming for Vengeance. Got Priest finally sort of on the radio and that in America. Defenders of the Faith came out, big album again, bang, it's taken them to that American status. We can get into America now. The next records come out, ram it down, turbo. They've got perms, they've got spandex. You know, Priest always had leather and studs and fucking this. Now they've got a bit of blue spandex and some, give the guitar and a stupid flying V that's kind of modern and doesn't look good. Why? Because they're trying to go for that Midwest radio listening American market. The records are weaker, softer productions. The band looks more stupid. Like, you can tell it's just a cynical, motivational. And I understand, as I said before, like, heavy metal to me became limiting, but even by the time I was 21, which is why I made Presto, which is in the 90s, because that was a band that did anything. We did tribal music, we did ballads, we just wrote music. I wanted to know how to write music. I wanted to know how to write. I was intrigued, how did the Police write that song with one riff? But it's not boring, and no one notices. Some Police songs have one riff, and you wouldn't even notice, because people just hear the song, like the song works. Whereas heavy metal has always been, sometimes, you know, it's riffs. It's riff-based music, some of it, especially when it got harder. You know, we like the riffs. When thrash and chug metal became more popular, guitars took over from vocalists. Yeah, before Iron Maiden and Priest, vocalists. You listen to the singer, Dio, Black Sabbath. They had good riffs and that, but the singer was also there. When thrash and that hit, sometimes they weren't singers at all. They were just, well, you've got to do the singing, James. All right, I'll do it, right? Because the riff, we were interested in that gung 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 gung, that fucking yes. The singing is cool, but it doesn't matter as much, right? So, what was I talking about? I hope this audience finds this interesting. I just rabbit on about. So I've got to get on more podcasts, because I'm going to try and get a Russell Brand's podcast.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I've met him a couple of times. I like the guy, and he's got an interesting energy about him. I saw him back in the early 2000s. I did a couple of gigs with him before he was super, super famous then. And he has, just around him a couple of times, he has an energy about him, like a kind of Edwardian poet, dandy or something. You know what I mean? It's quite, I quite like it. And I was thinking, I asked my agent, she hasn't got back to me yet, she can get me on there. I was thinking, if he says, well, why would you go on there? I just want to go, I think I'm an interesting guy. I think you're an interesting guy, let's have a chat. Yeah.
That's how I did this with you, really.
Yeah, it's about time I got on here, mate.
You got nothing but squirt boys on your posts missing the point, let's chat.
Yeah, I would have gladly chatted to either of those two dickheads. But I would have chatted about music first. Okay, what music do you like? Mind you, when I looked at his website and saw that one of his favourite bands was Children of Bodom, and he told me what favourite drink he liked and how he liked his pasta, I just went, maybe I won't. Maybe I... I've never listened to Creator and thought, I wonder what Mil Petrosa has for dinner. Right.
What's his star sign?
I've never cared. I've thought, fuck, you know, geez, he's still going, amazing. I wonder if he writes his riffs. Is it Ventor, right? Music, but I didn't. Well, I know he's a vegetarian, so I figured maybe he has a salad. But really, I'm not that. I don't care. You know, I don't care what the guys at Iron Maiden have for snacks. I don't need to know this about my death metal bands. I thought that's so funny. Like you don't even.
It's a very feminine thing, isn't it? It's like those gossip Hollywood magazines and a reflection of how they've feminized the men.
Yeah. Here's my
some juicy tidbit.
here's my favorite skin routine.
Yeah. How do you keep your hair looking so silky and headbangy?
Yeah. After a 45-minute set, how do you keep those locks looking bouncy when you walk out to sign autographs? This week in Death Metal Monthly. How to keep those satanic locks looking as full and as voluptuous as you want. Oh, yeah. But, yeah, the Squirt Boys are gone now.
You like that Squirt Boys singing?
Well, it's just so it's so wet.
So succinct.
It makes them like I can just picture them with their wee running down the leg of their trousers. As they call another man a racist as their mum irons their shirt. Holding their mum's hand with wee comes out of their pee-pee. Mum, I want to go to death metal. See, these guys, see, as I said, when we had our death metal bands, it's not like, oh, woe be us, you should all be fucking poor. But I'm like, that he's obviously some kind of fucking... So, I'm sure, he finishes his death metal practice and they all can go back home, and I'm sure, mum or grandma's made koftas and lots of food, and they can all sit around and discuss global domination while grandma brings them food. I'm like, no, see, we finished and went back to some caravan and smoked bongs and listened to Creator full blast and fucking had no money and got pissed on Jim Beam and fucking no mum was there cooking us koftas and helping us out. So I'm like, you little squirt boys don't even understand, and you don't even have the decency to show me any respect. And I don't need it off. You don't need you're great, Steve, but this is you, mate. It's you. You don't even have it in you to have any. If I met old guys from the European scene that I knew were from the old days, I'd have a respect.
The ones who paved the way for literally what he's doing now.
Yeah. So if I met some of these guys in Europe, then I'd have respect, mate. Fucking respect, mate. You're one of the pioneers. I might not be his friend. Maybe we don't get on. Maybe we're different people. But I'd have respect. Right. But these guys, they don't have anything. They don't have... Because they're progressive, so nothing's sacred to them. So what do they need respect for when everything needs to be destroyed to pave the way for their PC utopia?
Even the freaking concept of progressive, it's progress, but it's not inherently good.
No,
They seem to
confuse
progressive with
it's
being
totally regressive.
It's simply a movement in a direction. What direction?
We're
making
progress.
progress.
Utterly regressive.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got these young brainwashed PC morons running around acting as though they're the first time that they're the first people on earth to work out that sometimes human beings are horrible to one another. It's like they worked it out. Right? And then I had to sit there and watch these idiots, because I was in the 80s thrash punk scenes, you little children. So I saw the change. Because those scenes opened up a lot of what we don't care what race, sex, you are. You just come in. I saw a lot of that breakdown. Straight edge punk bands had don't drink. Don't become a fucking alcoholic by the system. Don't drink and take all their drugs. But the straight edge, they got too militant. They got fucking very militant. But I saw all those factions. You had vegetarian punks. You had crust punks. You had these. There was girl punk bands who were against sexism. Even though you realise now, as you look back, that we were all infected by this lefty cultural Marxism from way back.
Yeah.
Just wasn't as intense. Yeah, in the 70s when I grew up, the battle of the sexes. You know, which you just took for granted as a kid. You didn't know. You just attend and you hear these things and go on. But I went back and watched some sort of interviews on the BBC of like Oswald Mosley and stuff. Who's just known as a black shirt Nazi fucking maniac.
We were watching a whole lot of his stuff the other day just to see
Yeah,
some of this
and you watch him on, it's like in the 70s or something, 60s even, on Parkinson.
Yeah.
And I was watching it, I just realised the BBC's just been a lefty infected communist since the end of World War II, probably.
It was the same thing. The interviewer was just being a disrespectful fucking shit.
Yeah. And the audience as well.
Yeah.
And when I listened to the guy, he was erudite, polite,
Oh, he's brilliant. Brilliant.
knowledgeable, foresightful.
Spot on.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And that's when you realise, all you people, you just and a lot of the people I know who think they're fringe people, fringe comics I know who think they're fringe and all that. And I realise you're all, because where's all these punks I knew in the 80s?
They're all wearing
masks.
Ah, jinx.
I know some of them. I told them one-on-one, I thought you were a punk, mate. And he even comes back and goes, well, you know, Steve, that, you know, most people are fucking stupid. I'm like, well, no, you don't know that I believe that. And I don't think that most people are stupid. In fact, a lot of the people I realised that we as teenagers thought were stupid are smarter than you, especially, mate. Sometimes you can't judge a book by its cover. As I said, sometimes you can.
That's why
See some guy with
that's why books have covers.
Exactly. Some guy with no shoes and a tattooed face with missing teeth. Well, hang on. Maybe I won't judge you yet, but I'll certainly make an assumption about how we should approach this situation. So it was last night. I was watching they have opera singer, trained classical singer reacts to rock songs, and as I said, it's great to see that these people who've never seen heavy metal are actually realising, God, there's a fucking lot of talent, supreme talent. Because that woman who's singing in Nightwish now is just trained on all levels of opera, classical, rock, and she's just nailed everything. And she goes on these Dutch shows and sings opera and things and normal song, and everyone's just, who is the fuck is this fucking woman singing in a heavy metal band, right? Who's just, and everyone who watches has got, this woman is like, got mastered everything. Breathing, belting, notes, posture, fucking transformations, air, mouth, everything. Yeah. And nailed it. Right? So, but some of these voice teachers get on there, and then there may be a performance. Okay, I don't mind listening to the technical breakdown. I've never particularly liked the technical breakdown of music at all. Right? As I've gotten older, I understand the importance of the knowledge, which I don't really have, of notes and everything and scales and how it works. My brain is fucking so shit at things like that, how things work. I can never do maths, If a car breaks down... If a car breaks down, I can't look at an engine. My brain just scrambles. If they said write a song, I'd go, I have a great time. But if someone goes, fix this practical problem, which is a problem because I'm out of balance.
Or write the notation for the song you wrote.
Yeah, can't do that. Yeah. But sometimes I hate it when there's a guy, say the guy from Alice in Chains is doing some ripping performance, but it's heart. I'm not interested in the technique. Right? This is just balls out, soul-bearing fucking pain or joy or despair or rock and roll, mate. Right? I don't care how he's breathing. Right? So sometimes I watch these fucking people and then they stop and go, well, what he's doing here? And I'm like, oh, look, this is a performance that I don't need you to break down. And see, as I said, you can't judge a book by its cover. I found a new guy who I just like. I watched this guy last night. He's about mid-30s. Some men I don't know if they're good looking, but he's definitely not an ugly man. He seems like he's not rugged. He seems to be a decent looking enough man and well dressed, like a neat, normal guy that teaches classical music, right? Highly open-minded, very intelligent, and then finally he watched the Alice in Chains one and he goes, well, I don't think I need to say anything about that because that's just balls out heart. I'm at the first one. Yeah. And if you looked at this chap, you wouldn't think he was that guy in his suits. And he says funny things like, oh, God, what did he say the other night? He swears but uses funny things. Buttered bowls of broccoli. Listen to that. And I went to the comment section straight away, and one bloke straight away is going, I'm stealing that. Right.
How many dislikes did he have there?
But so, that's why I really like these reaction videos I think they're a manifestation almost of we're getting to see each other out of our own worlds that we've put ourselves in. So now I get to see some black guys watch Rush, and I get to watch this music teacher guy who I'd probably never meet, I probably thought was a bit of a dork, who's actually a fucking cool guy. Who understands the fucking shit. So I think that's a kind of good manifestation because I realised that last night watching that. We're getting a peek into other people's worlds and how they think about things, which is kind of cool. And it's breaking down some of these things where there is, because you watch a lot of young people going, man, I wish we had music like this. Why didn't we get music like this? It's almost like their soul is going, they can't listen to any more auto-tune or Katy Perry. They're all going insane. Like Scandinavians breaking away from this bullshit, making fucking bands with, fur drums that they built themselves. And I think these young people are funny. They hear fucking Pink Floyd and they're like, this was made in 1971. It's brilliant. Yeah. So it's kind of cool that it is like this little awakening. As I said, because there's some dumb people and they watch their personalities and that, but then something like Redruna comes on, and some of them do actually go, and you see it just, oh, I don't have to show pretense here. Yeah. Like I don't have to put an act on. This is actually real. It's the people that don't get that I find more fucking dumb. Like if you go to say you went to see some band like Tool or something and they're starting off with some slow build-up or something, you still get those blokes that stand there in the audience, where's the drummer? Where's that? Oh my God, how did this fucking fish find himself to a Tool concert? Right. I went and saw Cult of Luna once, this Swedish band that sort of, there's about 9 of them. They look like supermodels and they're all dressed in suits, but they play whale-sounding fucking Sigur Rós music, but then it kicks into crushing, pounding stuff, this dichotomy. And I thought, great, I'll go and I'll take a couple of mushrooms and I'll go and watch this band. And so they start. So, of course, they're going to come out whale noisy, aren't they? Right? So they come out. But everyone's just talking. Like it hasn't started yet. And it's like that's like when I'm doing comedy and someone's talking. They don't understand. Now all the energy is going over here to this fucking troglodyte. Right? And I'm on stage and they don't understand that now this thing is, and I can feel it. Yeah. And so when I'm in this audience and these guys are starting, but there's people still, yes, I went to Sue's on Tuesday and all that. I'm like, no. You're supposed to shut the fuck up. So that then the tension, don't you understand? You're an observer here, dickhead. But you don't even have to be an observer. You want to be a conduit. Right? And so when that silence sits and then this whale noise is going to make... So that when that fucking thing comes in... Yeah, right? Like when you fucking come, it fucking comes out, doesn't it, right? How do you think a punchline works? The pop chorus, right? The tension. And then... I mean, you watch girls on a dance floor when that that song from that Norwegian band from the 80s? Was it Hold on me, wait on me, take me home? What is that? That's like some guy who's about to come, or some woman who's about to come, right? It's like, it's hey, home. And then and you watch them on the dance floor, they can't wait for this fucking bitch. And as soon as that guy hits that, they all fucking go. And you're like, and so when who are these troglodytes that don't get this? Well, I guess I've got to, maybe, do I stop judging them? Do I have to just go, okay, talk? I had to go up the back and just try and get away from him. I couldn't get away from him. And then I took too many mushrooms and fucking fell over. It's another story, which we'll go into another time.
Oh, look, we just hit 333. Illuminati confirmed. 3 hours, 33 minutes.
3 hours?
Yeah, 3.5 hours.
Jesus. I guess you don't put it out for 3.5 hours, do you? Like, if this went out for 3.5 hours, would people listen to 3.5 hours of fucking stuff? Or do you just edit it?
I like watching things that go for as long as they go for. So some people do, some people don't. But that's not. I don't want the people who aren't interested in the whole thing as it is.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's. I understand completely. I sometimes people go, you should do this, and that's why I used to say that rush. And they go, people go, oh, it goes for too long. Well, it's not for you then. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you don't have the balls to get through it, because then fuck off. That's why I like those bands who stay real. Well, the song goes for 12.5 minutes. If you can't hack it, what are you doing?
Movie like Gone with the Wind was that 4 hours. I've seen it maybe 30 times because it's great. Whole way through every time. Length of time doesn't matter if you,
But we are, as we said, people can't even hold down a revolution for more than a Tuesday afternoon these days. Save American blacks until tomorrow. Then we'll oh, Jesus. Why don't they ask blacks?
You just ask sure via computer.
No, all over me cushions or whatever I've got here. I look like I'm smoking spliffs everywhere I go because I want the chlorine. I don't want chlorine in papers, so I buy these raw hemp papers, and everyone's like, fucking, you walk around the street, everyone's like, what are you? No, I'm just, Then I go and swim in the pool, so, what am I doing? Well, 3.5 hours, that we could probably wrap it up.
Yeah, if you wanted to do this again as well, that could be fun, I reckon. It's a good chat.
Yeah, we could do it again. I hope it made some kind of sense, because I know I go all over the fucking shop. I'm like a kind of spinning top left alone in a room, It's not I'm not Jordan Peterson focused, but...
that guy.
But, I find it easy, because I used to wonder, should I go into podcasts? Actually, no, I never used to think. I used to go on there and I used to spout off with my unconscious bullshit, which has some truth to it, but I was also just an angry motherfucker, thinking, why can't these fuckers wake up? Well, now I'm like, it'd be good if you woke up, but you'll wake up easier if the collective consciousness raises and we drop a lot of mind control trauma and deal with our own trauma, I think, and just go inside, realise you really are in the matrix. You don't want to be in there anymore. You can, well, how will I get food and all that? You'll get food. Don't worry. How will I get a house? And all, well, you don't know. Anything could happen. Maybe we'll all set up big areas filled with tents for a while. We all have to live there. but it's kind of cool because we've all got fires. It's kind of like Glastonbury every day. Who knows? Just for a start, just a transition. But drop thinking that it can't change. You're just giving away your power. You're keeping God in a box. Oh no, maybe I can work it out. I'll keep God in a box. I'll keep the creator of the universe. Oh God, there's a bloke. No. Just something's going on. You didn't invent nature. Something's going on. So
as they call it, return to the source.
Or you get your science people who just come on who love to be atheists. They're hilarious to me. Just they're hilarious. Funny little automatons running around.
Why is there pain? Checkmate.
Oh, it just the scientists said. The scientists. So all you have to do is put scientist or expert in a news thing or in a newspaper. Just put that word in the front. You start around. It's like a fishhook. Scientist.
It's the new religion, isn't it? The religion of.
Oh yeah, totally. And then they go, well, I trust science. Scientists is. There we go.
Do you deny?
Well, I'll tell you what. Joseph Mengele was a scientist as well. So. Scientists are the ones that gave you the atomic bomb. So. Who do you fight your wars with? Hippies? No, they grow blueberries. What does science give you? Machine guns, bombs, landmines, scalar wave weapons. Sciences. Yeah. Plus, I love the way science heads think that they're so. I think they're smaller. They're one of their crux arguments in science is they'll look at. And I'm not a monotheist religious guy. What a bunch of mind-controlled, murderous fucks they are. Right? Giving you crucifixes with right angles everywhere and fucking trapping fucking energy into fucking things that aren't cosmic.
What I hear the other night, religion
telling you
inoculates you against real faith.
Oh, totally. Totally. Right. And so, but the argument you'll put forward if you're listening to someone like, from the science camp, it'll be going, well, say Richard Dawkins, who I just fucking think is such a dickhead. Right? They will say, obviously, you have this kind of faith where you'll just project outwards, and many of them do through the monotheistic mind control. They can just project outwards to big daddy in the sky, and they don't have to do nothing. And then Daddy will come back and save them. And all the ones who believed in Daddy enough, Daddy will take back to heaven. Right? So, of course, you can understand you can pick holes in that with any kind of logic or reason. I mean, most of us picked holes in religion as kids, going, well, what about Aboriginals? They haven't heard of Jesus. Well, they go to hell as well. Oh, well, fuck off, dickhead. Right? So they'll always denounce those kind of religious people, and rightly so on certain aspects of faith. But in the sense of going, well, you're so enamored by this faith that you can never evolve because you can't move forward, right? Whereas science always goes, see, what we do is we're so open-minded, right, that we do our experiments until we observe perhaps patterns or things that recur enough to create our belief in our discovery. But we don't hold on to that discovery like you do with your stupid little beliefs, right? Because if we disprove ourselves, then we let go of the old paradigm and we move forward in our majestic evolution. But always forgetting to say, but if you don't believe in this discovery when we believe it's fact, then we'll crucify you. Because while we believe it's real, if you don't believe it's real, then you're a heretic and a fucking dickhead, right? But we give ourselves the back door of going, but if suddenly we realise we weren't right, we're so open-minded, we just move on, see? And don't worry about all the crucified bodies that we left in the wake who didn't believe in our stupid fucking theory back then. So that's where I laugh at the science-obsessed fucking atheist bunch. Sam Harris can come on with his blah, 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 as much as he fucking wants. I don't give a fuck. I find that guy highly annoying. For someone who apparently meditates and understands Buddhism and Zen, I'm like, I don't trust. Some of my gut just goes, I don't like you, man. So it's Dawkins. I thought, Dawkins, I don't like you. You seem ridiculous. Hitchens I quite enjoy. Because his mastery of the English language and his balls out fucking guts and... Come on, you can't not enjoy it. Anyway, that little flash we had is my battery running down.
Oh yeah, your picture disappeared.
Yeah. And I can't plug it in while I talk because the connection's dodgy, and I have to rest it on a fucking thing. And the headphone jack's a bit dodgy. The whole thing's just it's hanging in there for me, but it's on. It's all right. Well, this has been fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Hopefully, someone finds it interesting. If they do, that would be fun.
We'll edit out.
And we'll deal with the accusations of sexist or homophobe or whatever comes on. They have to come. They come on.
Someone will chop up sound bites and turn it into the most horrific sentence ever, and that's it.
Oh yeah, they'll chop it up.
Yeah.
Do I think? Why should homosexuals be given the same grace as heterosexuals? See what he said! It's because he hates all the homosexuals and he wants to kill them all. You know what I hate about PC? You've ruined homosexuals for me. I used to love it when gay men turned to parties. They had wit I could match. They were well dressed. They usually had drugs and good senses of humour. Now they all turn up moaning. I'm like, oh, before I was like, finally, some gay men are here. Let's fucking get into it, right? Hello, boys. All right. Someone with a personality at last. Right? Now they all come in with placards crying. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, on that note, I'll speak to you again.
Yeah. Thanks for this, man. You have a good day.
All right, you too. All right, Phil.
Yes, dude. It was fun.
All right, see you, brother.
See ya.
Have a good one. Check.